They drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
David Amata.
Hey, that's Dragon Ball to you.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names. David Scott Kelly.
And a pleasant good afternoon to you. It is a glorious Wednesday, hump day here. A day closer to football, for sure. Short week, as we've been saying. One less day to get it all in, but one less day that we have to wait for college football this week here in the great state of Arizona, as the Wildcats will be heading down to take on Kansas State on Friday. We had a lot of Friday early season games of late. There'll be 2 this year with this new schedule in the Big 12. This, of course, a non-conference game. Would have been Friday either way, but there will be one Friday game come non-conference side against the Houston Cougars. That'll be a game that'll be right here in the great state of Arizona at Arizona Stadium, and against a team right now that's not looking like they're going to be very good. But we'll get to that game when we get to that game. First up will be Kansas State. We'll talk a little Kansas State football today. We're going to be joined by Wildcats beat writer, Kansas State Wildcats beat writer, Kellis Robinette from the Wichita Eagle. He'll get us set on what we can expect from the those Cats, when we get to Manhattan on Friday. Also, we're keeping an eye on the Diamondbacks as they are about to sweep the Texas Rangers in the World Series rematch. They obviously played a few weeks ago over in Dallas, and now the quick 2-game turnaround here in Arizona this week, and it is going very well. So well, let's update you right now on what happened last night in this series.
Diamondbacks download.
Baseball stuff!
All right, Zach Gallen went to the hill last night for your Diamondbacks, looking for win number 12. It's amazing that he has 11 wins, considering it seemed like he missed so much time out with injury, but sitting on 11 wins going up against Nate Eovaldi. So a pretty good matchup here in this opener for the series last night. But it was all Diamondbacks early in this one. Getting it started was one dude, or should we say him, Jock Peterson.
And Milwaukee, there's a swing and a drive headed towards the pool. Back it goes, and that is a long one for Jock Peterson. D-backs on the board. It's 1-0.
Number 22 on the year for Jock Peterson. Very next batter was Christian Walker.
And that's something we talked a little bit about in Houston against Verlander as the 0-1. Swung on. That's hit on the line to pretty deep right field. And Garcia watches that one go. Back-to-back jacks for the Diamondbacks. First it was Peterson. Now it's Walker. And it's 2-0 Arizona.
Good to have Christian Walker back in that lineup, boy. And he was not done. Christian Walker would come up with a man on in his next at-bat, third inning.
It was 2-1, swung on. That's hit well to right field. That's going to send Garcia back to the wall, and that one's gone. Oh, man, Walker back-to-back opposite field homers, his second of the game. And the Diamondbacks have doubled up the Rangers. It's 4-0.
He's starting to like that right field wall. He stayed inside a slider and just hammered this ball to right.
24 and 25 in terms of the number of home runs now for Christian Walker on the season. 4-0 at that point. That would be plenty because Zach Gallen had it going on Tuesday night.
So it's going to be close to a 25-pitch inning for Gallen here in this top of the first inning. Not off to a great start just in terms of pitch count. And now it's just about putting a 0 on the board. 0-2 pitch. Fastball, strike 3 called, and the inning is over.
See if they have length for running on this 3-2 pitch. He holds it first. After days, and there is the slider. Strikeout number 5 for Gallen. 3-2 once again. He puts him away with a curveball. 6 strikeouts for Zach.
Oh, does Zach Allen look really good right now?
16 sliders last night in that game. 16 sliders, and it was biting for Zach Gallen. Now, you heard them mention he had a pretty long first inning, and as a result of that, just 5 innings of work last night for Zach Gallen. But he did have 7 strikeouts. He threw 94 pitches in those 5 innings. Then he handed it off to the bullpen, and this is the bullpen you like to see. Kevin Ginkel in the 6th, Ryan Thompson in the 7th, A.J. Puck struck out the side in the 8th, and then Justin Martinez with a pair of Ks in the 9th. So Puck and Martinez striking out 5 of the last 6 batters, and the bullpen allowing just 1 hit in 4 innings of work with 6 Ks and 1 walk to close out a 6-0 win on Monday night, or Tuesday night, I should say, to open up the series against the Rangers. Now, the good news is things are going extremely well right now at Chase Field in the turnaround day game to wrap up this 2-game set. 13-4 at the end of 7 innings right now. The Diamondbacks have a bunch of homers. You think they homered last night. They have a bunch of homers today. Randall Grichuk, Gino Suarez has homered. Ketel Marte has a 3-run home run. Gino has just hit a 2nd home run. And how about the rookie, Adrian Del Castillo, has a 3-run home run today. We'll have highlights of this game coming up for you once it is over, but it is going to be a 2-game sweep of this series against the defending World Series champions.
So it's well known that if a pitcher is having a particularly good day on the mound, one does not talk about what he's doing on the mound. Does the same apply to a batter who had a double in the 1st, a single in the 2nd, and a home run in the 4th?
Ooh.
Because that's what Mr. Marte is going on. He's going to be up. Perdomo's up next, and Marte will be after that. He's just missing the triple for the cycle.
So Marte is going to bat when the Diamondbacks come around again in the 8th. He'll bat 2nd with a chance for the cycle.
They just finished the bottom of the 7th. Texas currently up in the top of the 8th. Bottom of the 8th, he'll be up 2nd, and he's just a triple short.
I've never heard that. I've heard you don't talk to a pitcher when he's twirling a no-hitter thing. I don't know that I've ever necessarily heard you don't talk to a batter if he's in the middle of a fabulous night at the plate.
I have always thought that, okay, when it's the home run or the triple he has left on the docket, you don't talk to him because he's trying to psych himself up.
How do you try to hit a triple is the question.
Yeah.
Unless you're like Kenny Lofton or like Henderson or one of those kind of speed guys, like how do you attempt to try to hit a triple?
It's one of those things where it's got to be the perfect combination of a line drive and just a dying quail where it forces the outfielders to chase that ball, and it has to bounce off that wall just perfectly. It has to get to warning track territory. But I feel like if a guy is just a double or a single away from the cycle on his last at bat, that's when you go up to him. It's like, hey, all you need's a dribbler.
Yeah,
all you need's a dribbler, and you get to go in the history books. You don't mess this one up now. You've done all the other hard stuff. Don't mess up the easy one.
There's our old friend Carson Kelly at the plate right now for the Rangers. Spent a few years in a Diamondbacks uniform. Yeah, I think if you're Ketel Marte, you're hoping that defense is a little bit played for you to pull to the ball to left field, and then you can get that shot that goes right down the right field line and maybe bounces around into the corner a little bit and causes the right fielder to have to go chase it for a moment, and then you got a shot at 3 bags.
It's just that
getting
situation,
yourself a cycle.
That situation where you get a double in the 1st, right? Then you get a home run. A double in the 1st, a single in the 2nd. So bottom of the 1st, double. Bottom of the 2nd, single. Bottom of the 4th, home run. So it's like within those first 4 innings, you're already, 3/4 of the way there.
Mm-hmm. And Merrill Kelly started this game today. Not an awesome performance for Merrill Kelly. He lasted just 4 innings, not as good as he was the last time out for the D-backs. But a win today will put them back 4.5 games. So to put them into a virtual tie with the Padres, or actual tie with the Padres, at 82 and 64, and both teams would be 4.5 games behind the Dodgers, and again continuing to lead the wild card race in the National League are both the Padres and the Diamondbacks, with the Mets holding that third spot currently. So that's where we stand right now at Chase Field.
I had to look it up. Fastest cycle in Major League Baseball history, 4 innings.
4 innings.
Yeah. Mike Lansing, it says.
Oh, yeah, I remember Mike Lansing.
In a 19-2 win.
Oh, yeah, no, if you got a 19-2, and that means you're getting up to the rotation quite a bit. That's always the best thing, is that, like, if you're doing it in a very close game,
sure,
you have that little bit tighter around the collar. But when it's a game like this, like 13-4, 19-2,
sure,
you got a lot of opportunities to do it.
Think about it like this, technically, like if you've got a starting pitcher on the other side who they want to needs to get some innings in, and you go crazy in the bottom of the first, you're going to bat around. Some guy could actually have a single, double, triple just in the first bottom of the inning. So I think that's what happened in that case. 4 innings for that for the Rockies.
And it does not appear that the Rangers are going to have an opportunity to defend their championship. They are 5 games under 500 at the moment, looking at dropping to 6 under. They're 7 games out of the wild card with I think we're bound to probably about the last 17, 18 games of the season. And so there will be no repeat champion in Major League Baseball this year. Right now, the Orioles, Royals, and Twins, 3 teams from the American League Central. So much for the American League Central being a bad division, as so many people have talked about over the years. Right now, they're holding 3 of the playoff spots in the American League, with the top team in the Central being a team known as the Tribe. So that's a good year for them. Good year for the American League
Yeah, it looks
Central.
like Rangers have 15 after today. 15 games left after today.
15 with 7 behind. That's not looking too good right now, though. But how about, again, and a lot of people, if you're looking at teams that are kind of on the fringe, in the American League, obviously the Tigers. The Tigers are, there you go, throw the 4th team in the American League Central. Mm-hmm. Right there. They're 3 out of the wild card right now, and there's a lot of people believe that is going to be a very good team in the future. They thought maybe this could be a year where they could maybe sneak into things, and they've played extremely well over the course of the last 2 months. How about that? I don't know has that ever happened where all 4 teams from one division made the playoffs, but that's potentially what you could be looking at if the Tigers can sneak into the mix. But again, the Orioles are on top of the wild card right now by 5.5 games. So it would be so essentially the Tigers are 8 games behind the Orioles, and the Orioles would have to have a complete collapse in order for all 3 of the teams for the American League Central to play their way into this whole thing.
DK, never mind the teams that are going to get into the playoffs in the AL Central. I'm more focused on the fact that we are potentially going to bear witness to history. The White Sox need to only lose 8 more games.
8 more games.
And they break the single season loss record. And my dad, as a Mets fan, could not be more thrilled at the concept that the 120 mark will finally be broken.
So the Miami Dolphins pop champagne, right? So what's the opposite of that? Like when you have somebody break your worst record of all time.
You pull the phone out of the wall.
That's metal. I do have an answer for you, though, DK. It's never happened. So, like, the expansion happened in 2022.
Yeah, no team.
And no time ever has 4 teams ever made it to the playoffs from the same division.
Well, there you go. Yeah, there would only be, there's, I mean, all the divisions now have at least 5 teams. So that would be something to ever see that happen. And it would be definitely something to see the White Sox lose 120-plus games. 33 wins. 33 wins. This season. That is all they have. Whew. Not good. Not good. All right, coming up, we mentioned some of what we've got coming up. Lamont Hunley also going to join us a little bit later in the program. We'll talk some Arizona football with the legendary linebacker for the U of A. Also, we will update you on Arizona golf. It was a good day for the team, but a very tough ending for one Carolina Malgrady, who was in the mix to win the Folds of Honor Collegiate, but came up just a little bit short. We'll have all that for you and more straight ahead. It's DK on the Sports Tip. We'll also hear from Cricket, the 4th member of our team, later in the program. Straight from the debate stage to Tucson, Donald Trump is coming to town tomorrow. So we'll begin to have an eye on what the traffic is going to look like here in southern Arizona.
Always a mess, yeah.
Come tomorrow when one of the presidential candidates makes his way here to the Old Pueblo. Cricket, though, right now, on a much easier traffic day, will get you your first report on how to get home, and she does it every 20 minutes on the 5s.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together. Earlier crash reported 22nd Street near Columbus on 22nd Street to the west of Columbus. And we've got sidewalk work that's occurring on Cortero west of I-10, also at Silverbell and Wade Road through the end of October. So we've got a 20% chance of rain on Friday and Saturday and a 70% chance of rain on Sunday. 103 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Bullfrog Spas.
It's Bullfrog Spa's Big Factory Sale, September 20th through the 22nd at the Pima County Fairgrounds in Tucson. Factory certified clearance, scratch and dent, even new hot tubs and swim spas as low as 50% off. Hurry in while the deals last.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
I don't feel so good.
You do feel hot. Dayquil Kids will take care of that fever.
What about my cough?
Dayquil Kids has that covered.
Will it make my throat feel better?
Yes, that too.
But will it taste good?
Yep, Dayquil Kids comes in your favorite flavor.
Purple?
Well, yes, it's grape.
Try new Dayquil Kids Plus Fever, the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6+. Use as directed.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Did you miss the big game? We got you covered.
Handoff will go to Hubbard in the end zone, and he's tackled for the safety.
Let's go, Arizona! Brent Brennan in the middle of it, jumping around. You know, wins are hard to get, and you got to celebrate them when you get them. I love this.
Yeah.
If the coaches ain't excited about what's going on and can't get up for the game, then they shouldn't be over there.
DK on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Wildcats Radio 1290 presents Rocktoberfest at Union Public House on Saturday, September 21st. Join us for a night of delicious beer, bratwurst, and music from the dirt. Show off your strength at the Stein Hoisting Contest and eat your way through the Brat Eating Contest. It's Rocktoberfest at Union Public House on Saturday, September 21st, presented by Wildcats Radio 1290. More info at wildcatsradio1290.com.
The Wildcats play here. This is your home of Arizona Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball. This is the home of the Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hey, Wildcat fans, Arizona football is here. Catch head coach Brent Brennan as the Wildcats enter their inaugural season of the Big 12 Conference. We need you to be part of the action, filling the stands and cheering on Arizona. Secure your seats for all 7 home games with season tickets, or pick the plan that is best for you by calling the ticket office at 520-621-2287 or visiting ArizonaWildcats.com/FB. Lock in your tickets today. We'll see you at Arizona Stadium. Bear down. Go Cats!
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS.
They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8695. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-8695. That's 800-575-8695.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Tree Monkey Tree Service wants to take this important time out to thank all of our healthcare workers and our local first responders. This message paid for by Richard and the team at Tree Monkey Tree Service. For all your tree trimming, emergency tree service, and stump removals, call the pros at 520-312-9476. That's 520-312-9476. Mention you heard this ad to qualify for a 5% discount. That's Tree Monkey Tree Service. Wishing you all the best this season.
This is Jim Rome with your Rome Report. I know this is going to sound all backwards, but the New York Giants really are the best franchise. Well, at least as it relates to team content. When it comes to winning football games, they're an absolute disaster. But as a result of that, they have never been more fascinating to me. I cannot get enough. I also love how we were all completely prepped for this disaster that's playing out on the field right now, thanks to the off-season Hard Knocks. Remember that? That was the best Hard Knocks in quite some time when we all expected it to be terrible. Well, I mean, horrible for the Giants. It was terrible for them, but great for everybody else. Because if you watched even 5 minutes of that season of Hard Knocks, you knew this catastrophe was coming. Already, you've got opposing players saying, it got so bad in week 1, we felt sorry for Daniel turnovers in the Giants.
This is the story of the one. As a warehouse manager, her job is to transform chaos into clarity and to see patterns where others see problems. Luckily, she's got a partner who shares her perspective. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products, backed by real person support and in-depth online resources, so she can tackle every task with precision and turn potential setbacks into streamlined success. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
O'Reilly. You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. Arizona women's golf playing their first tournament of the fall. If you follow the team, they do play a number of events in the fall before they get to the spring side of the schedule, which obviously is the championship side of the schedule. But right now they've got, it looks like, quite a busy schedule of events that they'll play, at least 4. They'll have one next week, the Mason Rudolph Championship down in Franklin, Tennessee. Then they'll play the Windy City Classic at the end of the month. That, of course, will be in suburban Chicago. And then they're going to play, how about this? They're going to play the St. Andrews Lynx Collegiate, and that's going to be in St. Andrews at the old course. That sounds like a lot. I don't ever remember Arizona women's golf playing a fall event outside the country, but we'll have to get more information on that as we get closer. That'll be in mid-October. But how about that opportunity for these young ladies to get to go to St. Andrews?
Is there a more prestigious spot? I mean, I know America, we're always going to talk about, the great spots in America, but, St. Andrews is the oldest.
I mean, that's one of those like bucket list courses that people always talk about. You got like Augusta. St. Andrews is probably right up there with some of the greatest courses that you could possibly find on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It is the epitome of having a chance. We talk about some of these young ladies who've had a chance to go play at at that event at the Masters every year, where a lot of the younger juniors and collegiates get to go play. Anytime you get to
1552.
Yeah, 1552.
1552 is how long St. Andrews Links course in
when
Scotland
it opened?
has been established. 1552. My favorite DK is when you interviewed the high school golfers.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, so, how long you been playing golf? Since we were three. How many, what famous courses have you played on? Oh, Torrey Pines, Augusta. Like, they named off every single famous course in the country. They aren't even 17 yet, so it's a different era. For sure.
And they already have like 200 wins. It's how do you have 200 wins already?
Right.
Like, that was the nuts part of that.
Yes, guys. So St. Andrews is over 600 years old, just to put things in perspective.
Well, it's funny, and just to I guess to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole. I don't know if you've ever done on your phone. One day I just happened to go to my phone, and I was like going through the calendar. And I just kept kind of scrolling, and I was like wondering, how far do these calendars go into the future? And literally, it was nonstop. It was nonstop into the future. I don't even remember what I finally ended up, but I think I literally went to like the 50s.
Right.
Before I just stopped scrolling. Because apparently it would have kept going.
2055, you got to be able to do that.
So then I just said, let me see how far it'll go back. And, of course, it goes back to basically zero. So, yeah, when you talk about, we could actually probably look up 1552, what the dates were on that weekend that St. Andrews opened for play back in which I'm sure was the Renaissance. Was that the Renaissance era? The 1500s, mid-1500s, potentially. Anyway, Arizona women's golf, they win the Folds of Honor Collegiate in Grand Haven, Michigan. I'm going to assume that is outside of Detroit. I don't know for positive, but the ladies come in first. They win that tournament with a +4 total score for the tournament. Congratulations to them on that. Unfortunately, it was a tough final round for Carolina Malgretti, the outstanding senior who had the lead going into the final round. She was tied for the lead after the 14th hole today, only to come up just short. She had two bogeys and a birdie down the stretch, did Carolina, whereas the winner of this tournament had three birdies over the last 4 holes and pulled it out. So Carolina Malgretti finishes second at the event. Let's hear first tournament for the new head coach, Giovanna Maymon, and this tournament was televised on the Golf Channel. So if you had a chance to watch it, I'll play that from this side over here, J-Dub. Let's hear from Giovanna Maymon, interviewed after the tournament on the Golf Channel about the Wildcats' win here in her very first collegiate tournament as a head coach.
So congratulations for winning the most heroic college golf tournament, the Folds of Honor Collegiate. I salute you all. And to rookie coach, where do you go from here? And I'll let you handle that one. But that is yours.
Thank you so
Congratulations.
Much. Thank you.
Coach Maymon, like you just said, first tournament, first year. Coach, what did you learn about your squad today?
Oh, wow. I mean, I just have fighters, like they never give up. I mean, this is special. It's the first one. But I'm so thankful to be in Arizona. And yeah, these kids are special for me. I mean, I've only gotten to know them in the last 2 months, 3 months. And it's something special. I mean, they fought all summer. They all work hard. It's not just last week that we've been working hard. It's all summer, all their lives for this moment, and I couldn't be more proud of them. I mean, it's an honor to be here to this tournament 9/11. This has been a special week. I mean, the course, the volunteers, the people, it's great, but I'm so thankful for all of these kids and for the kids at home, too, that make us better every day. So.
All right, that was head coach Giovanna Maymon, her first tournament as a head coach, and the Arizona Wildcats get the win at the Folds of Honor Collegiate. That's pretty incredible. First time ever a first-year head golf coach here at the university, and I'm sure there's been a number of them. We can go back to Lori Ionella, who just left. You can go back to Rick LaRose. No one had ever won their first tournament. Giovanna Maymon has done that. Pretty impressive, guys.
I mean, the first ever coach for the women's golf program to win her first tournament in the history of the program. So she's off to a really, really good start, to say the least. I'm very, very happy to see that they've got this kind of early success going into her first season as the coach for the program. I wonder where, that the question that they asked is pretty valid. I mean, where do they go from there? Because you start from the top, and it's going to be tough to kind of stay up there, especially with a lot of the other trips that they're going to make here going into the fall.
No pressure. I mean,
not going to St. Andrews. There's not.
Exactly. No pressure from here on out. Just win, baby. Just win. So Giovanna Maymon, let's hope this is a harbinger of good things to come for this program. Again, Carolina Malgrati finished second at the event today. Her final round +1. She just got outplayed down the stretch by Maribel Ting from Florida State, who played the final round at -4 and ends up winning by 2 shots. They were, again, tied after the 15th hole, but Maribel Ting had 3 birdies down the stretch to win it. Charlotte Back finished 6th overall for the University of Arizona. She was at +1. There were only 5 golfers that finished below par in this tournament. After that, it was Nina Wangathangamik, who was +4. She finished 11th, tied for 11th overall. Lilas Pinthier was 21st at +6 for Arizona. And I believe the last one was Maria Cabanillas, finished tied for 45th. She was at +16. So that is your Arizona Wildcat women's golf team winning their first fall event in Grand Haven, Michigan. All right, you want to talk about that? We can do that. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Let's get you a Diamondbacks update here. How about on this game has now come to a conclusion at Chase Field?
Diamondbacks download.
Baseball stuff! Baseball stuff!
It's a final 14-4. The Diamondbacks beat the Texas Rangers today. They get the sweep, 2 home runs by Gino Suarez, who now has a major league leading 7 home runs already in the month of September, and we are just on day number 11 of September. And Torey Lovullo, pinch hit for Ketel Marte in the bottom of the 8th. Luis Guillorme, I think is probably how you pronounce that, came in, but he got a base hit, so good for Luis. He didn't get a triple, but he did get a double, I believe, with that. But Marte comes up just a triple short of the cycle. He went 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs, and Gino went 4 for 4 with 2 solo home runs. Randall Grichuk also drove in 3 runs as he had a home run today. Good offensive day for the D-backs. The one downside, as we mentioned, is the injury. Apparently now, Merrill Kelly, we mentioned, he only pitched 4 innings today. He left that game with the trainer. And Merrill Kelly has had a history of cramping. We saw that a lot last year where he couldn't necessarily pitch deep into a lot of games. He left after 4 innings or in the 5th inning today with an undisclosed injury. So hopefully we'll get an update on that from Torey Lovullo. We will hope to carry Torey Lovullo's post-game press conference for you after this sweep of the defending World Series champions.
Speaking of updates, I also have updates on the year 1552.
Please
Other
do.
than St. Andrews, apparently Ivan the Terrible was running amok, and the Ottoman Empire invaded everybody.
Oh,
There's
boy.
your 1552 update.
Ivan the Terrible. Now, he was what? Was that England?
Russia. He was,
Russia.
Russia. He was the guy basically who went from feudal Russia to modern Russia.
So if you thought Putin was bad, you never met Ivan the Terrible.
I think if your like moniker is the Terrible, it's probably not the. You're probably not known for doing the best things.
See, you never thought you would get you get history lessons on DK on the Sports Tip as well. Good stuff right there. All right, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Again, Diamondbacks win 14-4. We'll hear from Torey Lovello after a sweep of the Texas Rangers. The Diamondbacks with the win are now 4.5 games behind the Dodgers. As we go down the stretch of the season, they are tied with San Diego now for the number 1 spot in the National League wild card with 3 straight wins coming off the win to wrap up the series in Houston, and now the 2-game sweep of the Rangers with the Milwaukee Brewers coming to town this weekend. I've got tickets for Saturday night. We'll see if we're staying with some friends up there. And we didn't know they had quite as extravagant a house as they do.
You might not leave the house.
And so we were like, they got this house in Scottsdale that's backed up to a mountain. I'm like, we could just stay here Saturday night and hang out in the pool. That's what I said. I was like, I can go to the Cardinals game. I don't necessarily have to go to the Diamondbacks game if y'all would just rather sit around the pool all night long. And I would be very fine with that. So we'll see if we make it to the Diamondbacks game on Saturday. Cricket wants you to make it home. Every 20 minutes on the 5, she has your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. With a widening work on Grant Road, east and westbound Grant Road, east of Country Club to west of Alvernon Way, travel down to 1 lane. Have a reported collision on Snyder Road, east of Catalina Highway at Snyder and Soldier Trail. Also earlier crashed 22nd Street west of Columbus. And we do have a 20% chance of rain Friday and Saturday, 70% chance of rain on Sunday, and 103 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
Expect runs in this potential playoff preview. I'm Joe Ostrowski here to help you beat the books with BetQL. The Royals are hanging on to the second wildcard spot as they continue their series against the Yankees tonight. With Luis Gil and Cole Reagans on the mound, this has all the makings of a playoff pitching duel, but the BetQL model is eyeing the over. BetQL has over 8 as a 5-star best bet. I'm Joe Ostrowski. Bet smarter, beat the books. Download the BetQL and BetMGM apps today.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Here at O'Reilly Chevrolet, we just celebrated 100 years, and it's truck season. And if that truck you've been driving around feels 100 years old, you know where to come. So see us today.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Is he okay?
Ron, did you get hit on the head? What? Oh, no. I was just reminiscing.
Here comes a story.
I was 5 or 6. A scruffy little ragamuffin, I was.
A scruffy? What are you, Charles Dickens?
Mama just wanted to comfort me. Mama? Comfort. It's why we started Alaskan AC, you know?
We know.
I was being a fuss budget. Golly, I was a scoundrel.
Get to the point.
These were the early days at Alaskan AC, see? See. It's a fun place to work at Alaskan AC.
Ron.
We don't take ourselves too seriously. We literally just came up with the new Alaskan AC jingle last month. What? Who's that? Who's there? Is it you, Mama?
Oh, boy.
Yes, Ronnie, it's Mama.
Did your little Ron Bon make you proud?
Every day, dear.
Why did I even come to work today?
Because...
It's a fun place to work at Alaskan AC. We don't take ourselves too seriously.
AlaskanAC.com.
Wildcats Radio 1290 presents Rocktoberfest at Union Public House on Saturday, September 21st. Join us for a night of delicious beer, bratwurst, and music from the dirt. Show off your strength at the Stein Hoisting Contest and eat your way through the Brat Eating Contest. It's Rocktoberfest at Union Public House on Saturday, September 21st, presented by Wildcats Radio 1290. More info at wildcatsradio1290.com.
All right, she's inside. Are you good?
Yeah. It's just, she's my baby girl, you know?
I do, and ceramic coating was a good choice.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Yep, I know.
Recon Auto Detailing. Enhance or restore your baby to her former glory with paint recondition, ceramic coating, paint protection, tinting, and more for full protection of your vehicle inside and out. New cars, old cars, we love them all. Recon Auto Detailing, 3829 North Oracle Road, Tucson. ReconDetail.com.
I'm Kamala Harris. Here's a few things I believe. Middle-class families, like the one I grew up in, they want common sense solutions. You want lower prices and lower taxes. I believe you want to just not get by, but you want to get ahead. We must create an opportunity economy where everyone has a chance to get a car loan, buy a home, start a business. And I believe we can make that happen.
Kamala Harris's plan? Bring down costs by cracking down on corporate price gougers. Make homeownership more affordable for families. A middle-class tax cut for 100 million Americans. And make sure billionaires and big corporations pay their fair share so you can keep more of the money you've earned.
Instead of being focused on the politics of the past, we need to be thinking about the future and how we make it better for families like yours. I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for President.
This is Jim Rome with a Sports Minute, sponsored by Angie. Angie makes it easier than ever to get your home projects done well. Get started at Angie.com. Hey, Cleveland, trust this. I do not want to do this to you. I do not want to crush the Browns. I want to love the Browns, except now your team is impossible to love, and you guys know this better than anybody, and you know why that is. I'm Jim Rome.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1, and literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
Vanguard is 100% client-owned, serving over 50 million investors every day. Whether you're planning for retirement, putting your kids through college, or saving up for your next adventure, Vanguard can help you set personalized investment goals. All investing is subject to risk. Vanguard is owned by its funds, which are owned by Vanguard's fund shareholder clients. Copyright 2024, The Vanguard Group, Inc., all rights reserved, Vanguard Marketing Corporation Distributor.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number for you to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. We are streaming this show on a number of different video platforms. If you want to watch today, we are on Facebook Live, we are on YouTube, and we are on Twitch. Had some camera issues earlier in the program, but I think we're going to go up to Chase Field right now and hear from Torey Lovullo after a 14-4 win by the Diamondbacks over the Rangers.
For him to be able to step back and recognize that the most important thing for him was to call out his catcher and call us out to just let us get our thoughts and our hands and our minds on the best decision to move forward and make sure that we preserve him. So once I heard it was cramping, it was a no-brainer for me. I decided to remove him from the game. It's one of those things that pops up from time to time with our athletes, but it's in no way, in my opinion, going to hinder him in 5 days from now. So I think he's going to make his turn, and all indications are pointing in that direction. I thought he had good stuff today, real good stuff. He was pounding the zone early, made some pitches, got clipped a little bit, but was doing what he had to do to keep us in the game. We were playing with a lead. And sometimes that can get a little challenging in those environments, but Merrill was doing his job. We had to maneuver into the bullpen a little bit. I thought Kevin Ginkel did a great job of coming in. I've asked him to do that time and time again. In my opinion, he enjoys that role, enjoys the situation, stepping into that arena with a lot of traffic and getting that big out and getting us pushed into the next inning. From there was Florida, Montgomery. They did a really nice job of, once again, challenging the zone, which can be a little bit difficult in these circumstances, but they did a great job, and I think the final score we gave 4 runs, if I'm not mistaken. Offensively, I don't know, what can you say? We slugged all day. There's a number of extra base hits, very close to a team record, as I was being told walking down here, but it was highlighted by 2 home runs from Gino, and his 4 hits, Marte, a home run, 3 hits, Grichuk, a home run, multiple hits, Dell with the big home run. Those are the types of days you're looking for in the crunch time of the season with where we're at. It's slowing the game down, following the process, following the routines, and our guys went out and executed. Want to enjoy the rest of the day. We got a day off tomorrow. We got to come in and be ready to go on Friday. Well, that's nice. That's it, right? No, okay.
Easy as one. You know what to go.
Yeah.
This game's not predictable.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you guys knew you had a good offense coming into the season, but what we're seeing is just such a extreme level.
You're listening to the Torey Lovello postgame press conference after a 14-4 Diamondbacks win over the Rangers.
Talking about leading the league in runs, there's a lot that goes into that. I believed in our hitters. I believed in our ability to execute the plans each and every day. But at the pace in which we're doing it, especially, I think it's probably been middle of June on. I know there's some early runs, early output. I love that consistency. I think we are that type of team. We got great hitting coaches that are continuing to preach and teach and do what they can and insulate our guys with really good hitting thoughts and prepare them to walk up to the plate. And then once they do that, as prepared as they are, we're really executing at a high level. It's not just the slug that we saw today. It's patient at-bats, waiting for our pitch, putting down the bat, handing it off to the next guy. We've been talking about that here for the 7.5 years that I've been here, and I think we've really done a good job with it for the past couple of years. So credit to hitting coaches and then the players for taking it from there. So am I surprised? Not entirely. I feel like something special is happening here from an offensive standpoint. I want it to keep going.
Well, a lot to unpack there. Good news with
That is Torey Lovello at Chase Field after the win today for the Diamondbacks over the Texas Rangers. So you heard him talking about Merrill Kelly there at the top, and it appears it was indeed the cramps, which Merrill Kelly has dealt with in the past, and they did not want to mess around with that, so they got him out of the ball game. Obviously, I'm sure a day game, but still a hot day up in the Phoenix area, and hopefully, as Torey said there, he'll be ready for his next start. Now, interestingly enough, in this game, Jordan Montgomery, who has been relegated to the bullpen, pitched the final 3 innings and pitched shutout ball for the final 3 innings. He did walk a man and allowed 2 hits, but Jordan Montgomery, pitching the final 3 innings in a win, gets his first save of the season. So shout out to Jordan Montgomery. You heard Torey Lovello mention Kevin Ginkel as well. Kevin Ginkel came into the ball game in relief with the Diamondbacks facing a little bit of trouble in the late in the ball game there. I believe it was the 6th inning when Ginkel came in and was able to get the Rangers out of that inning. I'm sorry, he came in the 5th inning. Came in the 5th inning after Slade Ciccone had relieved Merrill Kelly due to the injury, and then Ciccone had put a couple of guys on base. The Rangers had scored a couple of runs, and Ginkel came in and needed just 2 pitches to defuse that situation, get the Diamondbacks out of that 5th inning, to the 6th, and that's where they handed it over to the rest of the bullpen. After that, Floro came in the 6th, and then on down the line, Jordan Montgomery in the 7th, and pitching the final 3 innings. So again, Jordan Montgomery's kind of a wild card, guys. We don't know. I mean, he struggled as a starter. He's still trying to feel his way into this bullpen role. I don't know that he's a guy that's going to be in high leverage situations, in the postseason. But if he could get himself right and be sharp, he's a guy, a veteran guy that maybe you bring in for a batter or two, maybe in a lower leverage situation. But when you need a bullpen guy to get you maybe an out or 2 outs and not necessarily want to burn up your main guys.
How much easier is it for a guy who might have struggled with his control and his consistency to pitch behind a lineup that is semi-consistently putting big numbers up, like Coach just said right there? I mean, this Diamondbacks lineup, it's not the same guy every night in, night out, and that's what's great about it, is it seems like a lot of different names are getting involved. As far as moving from being a starter to middle relief, I think it's much easier if you're talking about if you're playing behind a team that's putting up 3-4 runs per. There's so much more pressure in those situations, right? But if you could just kind of be loose, follow your mechanics, and go out there and do your thing.
If you have a guy that is able to be that middle relief and set up for the more touted bullpen pitchers that you got, that's a huge side of concern that you can wash away for a manager, particularly in the sense of you have a guy than Jordan Montgomery who is trained himself in the spring to handle 5-6 innings worth of work. He has that gas tank in him to be there for long extended innings. And in games and series as we get towards down the stretch here in September that are going to be heavily involved with bullpen pitching to maintain those leads. Yeah. Because, again, the wild card race in the National League is not looking very, very easy to discern who's going to be in and who's going to be out.
I think the starting pitcher is the most important. The closer is the second most important. But to me, the third most important pitcher is that guy who can come in with the bases loaded and no outs and get out of that jam and then calm themselves down during that next inning and come back out and stay in the game for a long stretch, right? Eat up those 2, 3, 4 innings when you have your starter not doing their thing. So.
Well, and it'll be interesting. We've seen situations and how many guys will Torrey, potentially use come the postseason. We've seen managers, kind of get a tight fist when it comes to these games. And right now, you believe in Kevin Ginkel. You've seen it. He did it last year. A.J. Puck has been nailed, so he's going to get that opportunity. Justin Martinez is going to get that opportunity. So, I mean, it may come to a point where he says, I'm going to roll with those 3 guys. Just like we saw it. People have talked about it. We saw it a few years ago when essentially Terry Francona with the Tribe, he had 2 guys. He was working with 2 guys out of the bullpen. Andrew Miller when he needed a guy from the left side, and I believe it was Cody. I forget his last name. Was the closer that year from the right side. He used essentially two relievers. So that's really not the way that Torrey handled it last year. But still, when you get to the postseason, it's like sometimes those reps can get a lot tighter for guys in certain situations, and so we'll see how. But right now. You got something really good, and you're talking about before you get to the 9th inning with Ginkel and Puck and Thompson for sure being the 3 guys you can depend on there at the tail end of the game.
Back to Casimiro really quick. He was the one that the dancing bananas were behind home plate during the World Series last year, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Banana is famous for
cramping,
helping you with your cramping issues.
Now, the other
didn't we have a banana thing with us or our
last
baseball
year's
team?
U of A team had a banana thing.
Yeah, there
really
was
never actually explained.
Let's go back.
Season.
Let's go back and hear from Merrill Kelly real quick in the locker room after the game.
Tried all kinds of things, and for that to be popping up again is obviously just frustrating.
It didn't feel overly hot where we were sitting. Was it hotter on the field today, or is it just?
It's. I feel like this year it's harder for me to gauge just because I haven't been here all year. I changed my jersey after the 4th. It was pretty wet. I'm a big sweater as it is. But I obviously have a hard time comparing anything this year just because I haven't been here as much.
How long did you feel it for before calling the trainer out?
I felt it right when I threw that pitch. I knew I was going to come out of the game as soon as I felt it, just because it wasn't letting go. Before I stepped back on the mound, I still felt that I was just kind of giving it some time. In the back of my mind, I knew it wasn't going to let go, but I was just giving myself at least some sort of effort to see if it would. And then when I stepped back off the rubber is when I knew that it wasn't going to give. And especially in that moment, when it's already starting to cramp, the more I throw, it's not going to get any better. Max came out, and I think I was just giving myself more of a moment there to just kind of digest what was going on more than anything. I knew what was going on. I'd felt it before. I knew I was probably coming out of the game. I just wanted to give myself a minute there to just kind of process what was going on.
It seemed like you came up with a pretty good routine last year after you had the issues to not have it again.
Yeah, and we've been sticking to that pretty much this year. I think that's one of the reasons why it's so frustrating. It seems like it's been, and that's kind of been the theme of the cramping stuff, right? It seems like it's good for a little while, and then all of a sudden it'll tag me just kind of out of nowhere. I didn't feel anything today before that pitch, warming up with the innings prior. No signs, no symptoms of it, and then all of a sudden I throw that pitch, and the next thing I know I'm out of the game. So.
Do you have any concerns about All right, that is Merrill Kelly in the clubhouse after a 14-4 win. He had to leave the game because of cramping, and I think we're coming up in the next hour. David Amata's got something he wants to say about what he just heard.
Polyester, man. I'll tell you what. You have to change your jersey twice because you're sweat. They gotta give these pitchers cotton jerseys. You gotta go to cotton for the pitchers, and everyone else can play in polyester. But man,
oh boy.
Going there. Also, I just want to say there is no routine that you could possibly have to avoid cramping. It will just happen. Doesn't matter what your routine on the day-to-day basis.
Drink more
cramping
water.
Will just happen.
Drink more water. All right, David Amata is going to tell you all of what is happening around sports here in Southern Arizona and the world.
Wildcats Radio 1290. 2020 Sports.
Arizona football is going to prepare for another mobile quarterback in Kansas State's Avery Johnson. Wildcats defensive coordinator Dwayne Aquina gave a quick preview on what the tall task is in that regard.
Well, he's very similar to the first one we lined up with. And as I've shared with you, quarterbacks with legs always puts a lot of strains on the quarterback. Everybody could be covered. Now, they create offense for you. They create momentum because now you got to get them on the ground, up in the open field. So he's got a lot of that in him. He's a good football player. He's somebody that we have to be aware of and contain him.
Again, Arizona right now making that trip to Manhattan, Kansas is the 7.5-point underdog against Kansas State. And coming away with a shutout win over the Rangers in the first game of the series, the Christian Walker having 2 home runs. You just heard right now, the Diamondbacks went ahead and swept that 2-game series thanks to 14 runs by the Diamondbacks over the Rangers in their World Series rematch. And a calf injury for the 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey is apparently getting a new wrinkle. Now the team is saying that he is suffering from Achilles tendonitis ahead of their next game. McCaffrey saying, however, that he will be playing this week as San Francisco begins their preparations for Week 2. And that's your 2020 Sports Update. We'll have more for you here on Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Snyder, east of Catalina Highway, Snyder Road and Soldier Trail, a crash reported there. Also got some slowdowns on westbound Aho Way approaching Mission Road. There is a 25% chance of rain Friday and Saturday, 70% chance of rain on Sunday, and 103 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Bullfrog Spas. It's Bullfrog Spa's Big Factory Sale, September 20th through the 22nd at the Pima County Fairgrounds in Tucson. Factory certified clearance, scratch and dent, even new hot tubs and swim spas as low as 50% off. Hurry in while the deals last.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Sean Furrier here for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Whether you're new to Arizona or you've been driving here for decades, we all share the same roads and the same extreme driving conditions like extreme Arizona heat, extremely large potholes, some extremely flooded roads, and there's always extremely distracted drivers, pedestrians, and that guy who drives a scooter backwards into oncoming traffic. You're driving in the world's largest video game, stopping, starting, turning, heating up, and cooling down. And that's just your afternoon commute. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care's 14 award-winning locations have been helping drivers just like you get home safely for over 60 years. With top quality tire brands, no hidden extras, and one low price. Jack Furrier has everything you need to stay in the game, like wheel alignments, batteries, brakes, air conditioning, service at prices that won't break the bank. Ask a neighbor or friend about Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care's friendly service, or stop by, make an appointment online, or call ahead to the local's choice. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, since 1960, here to get you there.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Hi, you know me, Scott Lehman from ScottSaysYes.com. Check out this month's Wildcats Radio 1290 Community Calendar powered by Premier Auto Center.
Visit the Wildcats Radio 1290 Community Calendar at wildcatsradio1290.com to find out what community events are coming up in the Tucson area. You can also find Wildcats Radio 1290 events, upcoming sporting events, and more. Get the details and get involved with our community at wildcatsradio1290.com.
Go to ScottSaysYes.com today.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Wildcats Radio 1290 presents Rocktoberfest at Union Public House on Saturday, September 21st. Join us for a night of delicious beer, bratwurst, and music from the dirt. Show off your strength at the Stein Hoisting Contest and eat your way through the Brat Eating Contest. It's Rocktoberfest at Union Public House on Saturday, September 21st, presented by Wildcats Radio 1290. More info at wildcatsradio1290.com.
The one and only home of Arizona basketball. Pre- and post-game coverage, play-by-play, and live press conferences. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
Wait, what's the CNWT?
Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
David Amata.
Hey, that's Dragon Ball to you.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but three first names, David Scott Kelly.
Hour number 2 of the program on this Wednesday. How are you? Hope you're having a great day. DK on the Sports Tip. Love to talk to you. Love to talk some sports with you. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. First hour, we talked about Arizona women's golf. They win the Folds of Honor Collegiate. The team wins by 2 shots. The individual championship went to Maribel Ting from Florida State as she chased down Carolina Melgrete over the last 9 holes on the back 9 to win by 2 shots, birdering. Can't even say that word
One more
today.
time.
Birding. There's something wants to add an extra R into that.
Yeah.
It's
Those
crazy.
pesky Y's.
Right.
Now try the harder one in eagling.
Eagling.
Right.
That's easy. Eagling is easy. It's the birdieing that's tough. Maribel Ting, to win that tournament today, had 8 birdies.
Wow.
And 5 of them came in the last 6 holes.
That's clutch.
Yeah, she finished for sure to again chase down Carolina Malgrate of U of A, who had 6 birdies on the day, but had 4 bogeys and a double bogey to basically cancel out her 6 birdies. And Maribel Ting gets the win on the individual side, while the Wildcats again get the win on the team side by 3 shots. So Arizona finished at +4 to win by 3 shots over Florida State, 12 shots over Ohio State. And how about this, guys? Arizona won by 15 shots over guess who?
That school up north.
The school that took Arizona's golf coach.
Yes.
Oh.
Texas.
I'm sorry. The school that Arizona's golf coach chose to go to. I don't want to phrase it like took. There was no taking.
They took her because they paid her a whole lot of money to go. So they definitely took her. Texas finished at +19. Arizona at +4. 15 shots better than Laura Ianello's crew today. How sweet does that make, winning not only your first tournament of the season, but the first tournament for your new head coach, besting your old head coach's
team. Is Arizona playing
by
Washington
15
in football
shots.
this year?
Come bowl season, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, that's true. That could be possible. You know, we are still tied to the Pac-12 bowl games, and some of those involve teams from the Big 12 or the Big 10. So that certainly is a plausible possibility for sure.
And as for the girl that went ahead and really struck it out and just dominated those final, what you're saying is she did not pull a Jean Van de Velde.
She did not pull a Jean Van de Velde, no.
With that 99 U.S. Open.
My favorite thing, though, was like
Jeez.
3 years after that, he went back with his putter. And he completed the hole, I think, in 4 or 5 strokes with only his putter. It was like a 400-yard. Because I think he shot a 10 or 11 on that hole. That famous meltdown. Yeah, that was a 17, I think. 17th or 18th. Yeah. Crazy.
Wildcats as a team had the best round today, overall round. They were -6. The only other team, Florida State, to finish under par on the day as a team. So congratulations to the ladies for getting that big win. All right, before we get baseball's about to start in the East, we want to give you your BetQL 5-star play of the day, because that's what we've been doing, even though some of these have not been working out. It did work out yesterday. Remember, they told us to take the Blue Jays over the Mets yesterday in Toronto, even though the Blue Jays are not really playing all that well, and the Mets are in the mix for a chance to go to the postseason in the National League. But that game worked out for us yesterday. We took the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays won the game 6-2. Today's 5-star play is the over. So you got to play this quick, because this game, I think, is just about to start. If it's not started, I think it was 4:07, and we've hit 4:07. So take the over today in the game involving the Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees. The over-under is 8. Your 5-star play from BetQL is to take the over today between the Royals and the Yankees, 2 teams that could likely be playing in the postseason as well, but younger pitchers on the mound in that ball game, which has just got underway at Yankee Stadium today. So take the over. We'll see how that goes out and works for us coming up tomorrow. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. We're telling you about, obviously, U of A football has a game coming up this weekend at Kansas State. U of A volleyball is back on the road. They went down to Alabama last week and swept that tournament, the ASU Classic at Alabama State, and that included a win over Alabama. This week, they are heading down to New Mexico, Las Cruces, New Mexico, for New Mexico State's tournament. That's a tournament that will include Texas Southern, Abilene Christian, and New Mexico State. The Wildcats in this particular tournament will play twice on Friday and once on Saturday versus the other tournaments where they had just one game per day. So they'll have to play a double dip on Friday. They'll play Abilene Christian in the morning and Texas Southern on Friday. And then New Mexico State, they'll play the host team at 1 p.m. on Saturday. And then the Wildcats will have one more tournament. So 4 tournaments to start this season. They'll have one more tournament. They'll come home for the Wildcat Classic next weekend. And, of course, that'll be a bye week for football. So they'll have the stage to themselves at home. North Dakota State, Southern Utah will come in, and they'll play just 2 games there. They'll play North Dakota State on Thursday, the 19th, and they'll play Southern Utah on the 21st, which will be Saturday. Now, David, you I think you left yesterday to go out and cover soccer. So we're going to have those conversations coming up here for you. We'll have a little bit later in the program. We will hear from who will we hear from? We're going to hear from Becca Moros, obviously, as well. And who else did you get a chance to talk to out there yesterday?
Yesterday we were able to get Marley Chappell and Megan Chelf were the 2 players that were able to join us for those conversations. And again, a lot of conversation early on before we got the players to go and talk to us is that the staff was talking to the players saying, are you looking forward to long sleeves or puffy coats? Because the temperature in Utah going into the game is going to be about 50 to 69 degrees.
Really?
So it's going to be a major dip in comparison.
Wow. So it's already cold in Salt Lake City?
Yep. It's
always
there.
cold in Salt Lake.
This is true. But yeah, no, that was a early conversation topic to have. But overall, it was a very fun conversation as they get ready for Big 12 play against a familiar face in the Utes.
Okay, so we know you said it's Marley Chappell or Chapel?
I think I've heard Chapel.
Chapel, yeah.
Okay,
that's what I've heard.
Because we now know for positive it is Kedrick Risano and not Riscano. We made that. We found that out yesterday. You'll hear from Kedrick if we can get Kedrick into the show later on. Kedrick Risano, the transfer running back from Ole Miss, who scored a touchdown in the game on Saturday night for Arizona in their win over Northern Arizona. We will get Kedrick Risano, and he actually addressed the fact that people constantly mispronounce his name, and so we'll hear from him on all of that. When it's like me, people misspell my name. They don't mispronounce it, but they misspell it all my life. They've been mispronouncing his name all his life. So now we know it's Risano.
As someone who also has that problem, I feel your pain, Mr. Risano. I feel your pain.
What do you mean, David Ahumada?
Yeah.
Ahumada.
Even the middle name sometimes gets misplaced.
What's your middle name?
Dwight.
David Dwight.
Think about it, my dad's a
Double
Mets
D.
fan.
Yeah, Dwight.
Otherwise
Gooden.
known as
there you go.
Dwight.
Yeah.
One of the greats. One of the greats.
Classic
for sure.
Office reference there.
All right, we are joined now by the 4th member of our program. Her name is Cricket. So Cricket, we were mentioning yesterday, obviously we had the debate last night, and I don't know if anyone got drunk off the drinking games from last night. You weren't here for that either, David. We had the drinking game for the debate last night. A lot of that stuff was said, so if you were playing along, you got real drunk. I had a few things to drink during it, so it was kind of interesting. Anyway, but the former president, is coming to town tomorrow, we understand, here to Tucson. And we don't know yet, or do we have any updated information on potentially what we are facing in terms of traffic on that tomorrow yet?
His speech or whatever you call it, question and answer session starts at 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
Nobody will tell me anything, which I understand. They don't want people to know which route.
I thought you had clearance for everything.
You know what? I tried to kind of get in the back way, like, I'm with the band, but I, contacted some people that are a little higher up at the Department of Transportation. And
I thought you had all kinds of clearances.
Well,
I think, reaching out to like police and authorities on the route that a former president is going to take to a city is not something they're going to give you information.
I used to live, when I lived in Cleveland, I lived my house sat on the freeway that came from the airport.
Oh, okay.
And so I want to say this would have been a Bush year because it was probably back in the early 2000s. He came to Cleveland, and so I knew the motorcade was going to come right by my house. So, and I could see because like it was at a time of the year where there wasn't a lot of the bushes and stuff weren't really filled in, so you could see down to the freeway. So I just went over to my fence, and I it was interesting because my house was also right. There was like a bridge. It was one of the bridges over the freeways right there. So I kind of walked over to the bridge, and you could see like they had Secret Service guys that were kind of standing
like perched,
on the bridge,
kind of looking over.
Right there, yeah. So I didn't want to walk on the bridge because I didn't want to draw too much attention to myself. So I just walked back to my yard and to my fence where I could get a clear shot of the freeway from there. Well, a clear look.
Don't say that. What are you doing?
A clear look.
What are we doing here?
A clear look.
Okay.
At the freeway. And so then it was weird because there was, it was a regular day. There's cars going back, and all of a sudden, all the cars stopped. There were like no cars, and so that's when you kind of knew it was almost time. And then they came right on by. You saw the police motorcycles first, and then there was the motorcade came right on by, and I got a chance to see it.
TCC, correct?
Or the Linda Ron, the Linda
so I
Ronstadt
mean,
musical.
if you think about the proximity between the airport and that area, I think they can get in and out of town fairly simply without going down Speedway or Grant all the way to the other side of the town and closing everything off and causing mayhem that time of day.
So I mean, obviously you've been here your whole entire life doing traffic. In the past, has there ever been any issues when we have big dignitaries like this come to town at all? Or
I believe a couple years ago, the First Lady came. There was a lot of, and I think she went to the big church downtown to do some speaking, and there was so many road closures down there. But again, we knew she was coming, but they wouldn't tell us, of course, her route or which way she's coming in or out. You know what I saw this weekend on Saturday night? I'm pretty sure I saw the Lumberjacks being escorted into town off of like a southbound First Avenue, south of Ina, and it looked like a presidential motorcade. I'm thinking, what is going on? Like cop after cop after cop, and then I see the big buses, and I'm like, oh, that's got to be the football team. It had to have been.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I just assume, and I think that I won't say they blew all the lights. They carefully, with their sirens on, they went, looked at the intersection, put the motor cops in the intersection. I don't think they stopped at all, and I would assume that maybe Trump's motorcade probably wouldn't either.
That's one of the good things about playing collegiate football or collegiate sports nowadays. You can just kind of bypass traffic at your own will.
The most rubbernecking I saw growing up here in town was the space shuttle. Used to come in town. It wasn't ever scheduled, but whenever they would land, they would come to Tucson and refuel. And they had the piggyback thing where the big plane would piggyback. And that happened, every other year through the late 70s and 80s. And people would just stop and you would just have everybody in town look up because it was so big and just took up such a profile. Tucson's also kind of a sleepy place, DK. Like, how long, since you've been here, 15 years, how many of these events where there's international dignitaries coming through town or some giant event that may shut down the streets? It's not necessarily the destination spot for that in general.
All right, absolutely. So we'll keep an eye on that for you tomorrow and have. So it's before our show starts, right? It's 2:00, I believe.
Correct.
2:00. So maybe we'll let you know on the way out if there's anything shut down once things get going back 3 to 5, and the president is headed back. The former president is headed back to the airport. But right now,
I will listen to police scanners. I still don't know what they're going to tell me.
Okay, they'll tell you something, right? I'm sure you'll find out something.
I'll definitely.
Yeah, the code words.
I know Morse
code. The Secret Service code words, whatever those are, so you can get a clear look at it. We want
get a
people
look
to get
at
a
it.
look at it. Not a clear shot.
Else other than a look.
Just a look.
Just a look. All right, getting you home now today on clear streets, hopefully. Except Grant Road, right? It's cricket.
For real. From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio, 1290 Traffic and Weather together. We've got reported collisions, Glen and Dodge Boulevard and Glen. Collision on Snyder, east of Catalina Highway, Snyder and Soldier Trail. Some usual backups on westbound Ahold Way at Mission. 20% chance of rain Friday and Saturday, and a 70% chance of rain on Sunday. 103 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio, 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Bullfrog Spas. It's Bullfrog Spa's big factory sale, September 20th through the 22nd at the Pima County Fairgrounds in Tucson. Factory certified clearance, scratch and dent, even new hot tubs and swim spas as low as 50% off. Hurry in while the deals last.
Sean Furrier here for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Whether you're new to Arizona or you've been driving here for decades, we all share the same roads and the same extreme driving conditions like extreme Arizona heat, extremely large potholes, some extremely flooded roads, and there's always extremely distracted drivers, pedestrians, and that guy who drives a scooter backwards into oncoming traffic. You're driving in the world's largest video game, stopping, starting, turning, heating up, and cooling down. And that's just your afternoon commute. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care's 14 award-winning locations have been helping drivers just like you get home safely for over 60 years. With top-quality tire brands, no hidden extras, and one low price. Jack Furrier has everything you need to stay in the game, like wheel alignments, batteries, brakes, air conditioning, service at prices that won't break the bank. Ask a neighbor or friend about Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care's friendly service, or stop by, make an appointment online, or call ahead to the local's choice. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, since 1960, here to get you there.
Is he okay?
Ron, did you get hit on the head?
What? Oh, no. I was just reminiscing.
Here comes a story.
I was 5 or 6. A scruffy little ragamuffin I was.
A scruffy? What are you, Charles Dickens?
Mama just wanted to comfort me.
Mama?
Comfort. It's why we started Alaskan AC, you know?
We know.
I was being a fuss budget. Golly, I was a scoundrel.
Get to the point.
These were the early days at Alaskan AC, see?
See.
It's a fun place to work at Alaskan AC.
Ron.
We don't take ourselves too seriously.
We literally just came up with a new Alaskan AC jingle last month.
What? Who's that? Who's there? Is it you, Mama?
Oh, boy. Yes, Ronnie, it's Mama.
Did your little Ron Bon make you proud?
Every day, dear. Why did I even come to work today?
Because...
It's a fun place to work at Alaskan AC. We don't take ourselves too seriously.
AlaskanAC.com.
Marco!
Polo!
Marco!
Polo!
In a giant pool of business competitors, don't be the one left unseen and out of reach. If you're a business owner and need help with your online presence, let's make it happen. Introducing Cumulus Boost. Boost your website, boost your findability, boost your reputation, boost your business.
Marco?
Yes, I'm Marco. Get a boost, get found, get on the map. Contact us today at cumulusboost.com.
Tune in to DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290 Thursday afternoons to compete in the Miller Lite Pigskin Challenge, where you can win money by placing a bet on the right team this football season. More info at wildcatsradio1290.com.
Hey, Arizona football fans. With BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you are right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Arizona only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen here. Join me and my compadre, Chris Brockman, every Monday on the Overreaction Monday podcast.
A 2023 last place team will win a playoff game this year.
I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals to be that team. If you gave me two,
safe bet.
If you said 2 last place teams, I might say that's an overreaction. Come react or overreact with us. This one makes it much easier.
Right.
So thank you for making it easier.
Well, tune in next week.
Overreaction Monday, wherever you listen.
Hey, Wildcat fans, Arizona football is here. Catch head coach Brent Brennan as the Wildcats enter their inaugural season of the Big 12 Conference. We need you to be part of the action, filling the stands and cheering on Arizona. Secure your seats for all 7 home games with season tickets, or pick the plan that is best for you by calling the ticket office at 520-621-2287 or visiting ArizonaWildcats.com/FB. Lock in your tickets today. We'll see you at Arizona Stadium. Bear down. Go Cats!
I'm Bridget Condon with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. There may be no Russell Wilson revenge game in Denver after all in Week 2. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin saying the team is preparing as if quarterback Justin Fields will start Sunday against the Broncos. This coming after Wilson missed week 1 with calf tightness. Tomlin added Wilson feels better than he did last weekend and expects him to practice this week. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur announcing backup quarterback Malik Willis will start week 2 against the Colts if Jordan Love isn't cleared this week after suffering an MCL sprain in week 1. The Packers say they do not plan to put Love on injured reserve, which means his recovery time could be less than the initial 3 to 6 week timeline. And the Vikings and defensive tackle Harrison Phillips agreed to a 2-year contract extension worth up to $19 million with more than $13 million guaranteed, according to NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
This is the story of the one. As a warehouse manager, her job is to transform chaos into clarity and to see patterns where others see problems. Luckily, she's got a partner who shares her perspective. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products, backed by real person support and in-depth online resources, so she can tackle every task with precision and turn potential setbacks into streamlined success. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. Arizona Wildcats heading out on the road for the first time this season as they will jet to Manhattan, Kansas for their first matchup with a team in their new conference, although once again, this will not be a conference game. It is one of the non-conference variety, but still against the 14th-ranked Kansas State Wildcats. And we will talk some Kansas State right now. Pleased to be joined by Kellis Robinette. He writes the beat for the K-State football team for the Wichita Eagle, and he joins us now. And Kellis, how is this new, I guess obviously this is the second year that you guys have gone through this with new teams coming into the league, maybe a little bit bigger number of schools this year in terms of the Power 5 variety than the ones that came in, some of the ones that came in last year. But how is this new four set of the corner schools being received as the latest teams to enter into the Big 12 Conference there in Manhattan?
I mean, I think it's mostly good. You got Arizona coming to Manhattan as a ranked team, so we got a really good game on tap here. So from that perspective, I think Big 12 fans are happy to see teams like Arizona and Utah, who've had some success before in the Pac-12, coming into the new conference. And, you know, BYU had a big win last week. Arizona State's undefeated. So they're holding up their end of the bargain right now on the football field. The one thing I will say I've heard some gripes about is that now that we're getting into conference play and teams are having to see when they're going to travel out west and play, not everybody's thrilled about kickoffs at 9:30 p.m. In the Mountain Time Zone. I've already heard some gripes about that, but, you know, that's just the nature of the business now. I've stayed up until 9 o'clock to cover games on the East Coast. Now I get to stay up just as late on the other side of the country. So, yeah, that's I guess what we're dealing with.
Well, I'll let you know that people are thrilled for a 5 o'clock start here this Friday night compared to 7 and 7:30 the last the first two home games. Although I think there were actually people who believed that there were going to be earlier start times in September in Arizona, which is never going to happen because it would be 105 degrees at game time, and you might have a half full stadium because nobody wants to sit out in that heat at that particular time of the day. Both these teams are 2-0. Kellis, Kansas State maybe struggled a little bit, I guess you would say, in their win over Tulane. There were folks that necessarily weren't real happy with the Wildcats' performance over New Mexico State. What was the reaction to K-State's 7-point win over Tulane?
I would say mixed feelings about it from all sides. Obviously, Kansas State's very happy they won the game. Anytime you can get a win on the road, anywhere in college football, it's good. The last time Kansas State played Tulane, they actually came here to Manhattan and beat them. And that was even with the team that Kansas State had when they went on to win the Big 12 that season. So to get some revenge and beat Tulane in any fashion, they're happy about that. They're not going to apologize how it happened. But at the same time, they give up 342 passing yards. Not a great thing to do when you got Arizona coming to town next. They need a scoop and score touchdown in the fourth quarter to win the game. Obviously, you can't count on that happening all the time. So it was kind of a subdued win. Nobody was going crazy about it. But you definitely rather learn from that scenario when you're on top than the alternative.
We're joined by Kellis Robinette. He is the beat reporter, Kansas State University, for the Wichita Eagle. Avery Johnson, the quarterback for the K-State Wildcats. It kind of looks very similar to a young man the Wildcats faced in week one, Devin Dampier from New Mexico, who had not maybe ran much in his first game, had Devin, and then came in here and ran the ball like crazy. Avery probably hasn't necessarily run the ball as much as many people would expect it. What's kind of the balance with him in terms of him as a passer and him as a runner?
Well, he's a dual threat player, and certainly what makes him a must-see talent and what made him a sleeper pick to win the Heisman this season are his legs. He's incredibly fast. If you go back and watch some of his high school footage or last year when he played on the road against Texas Tech, you get him out in open space, he's just as fast as any corner, any safety, anybody else in the whole field. So that's kind of a secret weapon. But, there's film of him doing this now. Other teams know he likes to run. Kansas State wants to, keep him upright all season, so they're using him like a real quarterback. He throws more than he runs, but last week against Tulane, they did ask him to get out and run 8 times. A lot of those were on designed runs, so they're not afraid to mix it up. I think kind of the formula with him is I think it's a lot like what you see in the NFL with guys like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. In most games, they certainly prefer to hang back in the pocket, make throws, not put their body on the line for first downs and touchdowns. But if it's a big game, if they need a conversion, he's going to be out there doing everything he can to make plays with his legs and his arm. So that's kind of where it's at. He can do both, but so far this season he's thrown quite a bit more than he's run.
Running back DJ Giddens, 6 straight 100-yard rushing performances. I mean, is he a workhorse type of back, or do they spread it around?
They do spread it around, but he certainly gets the most looks. I'd say going in any game, you can expect him to get 15 to 20 touches. Last week against Tulane, they even threw to him 4 times, and they caught 1 pass for a 45-yard touchdown. So, he's been far and away their best player this season, and he's their go-to guy, the number 1 running back. But kind of what makes things interesting in the backfield right now is that they also have Dylan Edwards, who's really, really fast, a little bit shorter of a player who transferred in from Colorado this last season. He's only got 12 touches on the season because they've been giving the ball to Giddens so much, but he's turned those 12 touches into about 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. So whenever they do take Giddens off the field, it's not like they're, taking a big step down. They've actually had 4 different running backs score touchdowns this season. So that's a position they really like.
We're chatting with Kellis Robinette from the Wichita Eagle, giving us a look on the scouting report for Kansas State football. It's the Wildcats and K-State Friday night in Manhattan, Kansas. On the defensive side of the ball, 8 returners, 8 starters, I should say, back from last year's team. How has that group looked through the first 2 games?
A little shaky at times. They give up two scoring drives in the first game against the FCS opponent they were playing. And then last week they go down to Tulane and really didn't look good at all. Like I mentioned earlier, they let Tulane throw for 342 yards on them. Really, anytime they went play action pass, they were able to just get somebody streaking wide open over the middle of the field. And that was a real problem for them. It wasn't until the fourth quarter where they said, well, for whatever reason today, we're not keeping up with these guys in our coverage, so we're just going to blitz them. and hope that eventually they break. That's what happens that's what happened when they got the turnover, and then the touchdown off of it. It was really all just from pressure and blitzing. So in that regard, they got to figure out some new ways to get pressure on the quarterback, do it organically with their defensive ends, their defensive line, and do a little bit more coverage with zone as opposed to last week where it was mostly man. But there is talent here coming into the season. People kind of figured that the defense would be a little bit ahead of the offense. I'd say that really hasn't been the case so far. And they'll be tested quite a bit here by some of these Arizona playmakers.
Chris Kleiman likes to run that 3-3-5 stack. We kind of saw that during the Rich Rodriguez years here in Tucson. Why is that a defense that he prefers?
Yeah, so it's interesting. When he first came to Manhattan, he was a big 4-3, 4-2-5 guy. Really loved the 4 defensive linemen. But his first 2 seasons at Kansas State just weren't as good as he was hoping for. The first season they won 8 games, but when they went up against some faster teams that ran a lot of RPO in the Big 12, they got carved up. Next year was a weird COVID year, but they had games where they gave up 40, 50, even 60 points in the game to Texas. That offseason, he kind of sat down with his defensive staff and said, "We gotta figure out a new way to go about doing this." And the answer was, let's go to 3 defensive linemen, get an extra safety on the field, get some more speed out there, defend both the front and the back with linebackers. And it's been interesting. I think a lot of people, when he first did it, were wary of going that way because Kansas State had never run a 3-3-5. But Iowa State has done it. Oklahoma State has done it. TCU has done it. So it's kind of a follow the leader type of thing. If it was working for other Big 12 teams, Kansas State might as well try it too, and it's something that they've stuck with for a while now. The one change this year is though that they do go 4 down sometimes. If it's like 3rd and long or something like that, they'll get an extra pass rusher out on the field. So they are mixing it up a little bit right now.
And I guess when you look at, obviously, Chris Kleiman's time here, this is obviously year 6 and a lot of 8-win seasons. Is the perception that this has been a good hire for Kansas State, bringing him out of obviously one of the best FCS programs that there is in North Dakota State and what he's been able to do in the first 5 years?
Oh, yeah, I think so, without a doubt. Like I mentioned, there was the one bad season, but it was during the COVID pandemic.
Right.
So I think everybody gave him a pass for that. Otherwise, they've been in a bowl game every year. He's taken them to a Big 12 championship. They played in the Sugar Bowl against Alabama and even led that game for a while. Final score turned out to be kind of ugly for them, but they did lead in the first quarter. It's something you can never take away from them. And, I mean, this year, they're now that Texas and Oklahoma have left the conference, people around here think there's no reason why Kansas State can't step up and be one of the new big dogs in the Big 12. I mean, there's really hasn't been much to complain about. I can say Kansas State fans are happy that when other schools like Washington and Nebraska have come in to say, hey, we want to talk to Chris Kleiman and see if he's interested in switching and coaching here. He said, no, I'm good. So they hope he keeps doing that.
And what do you think are the keys to Kansas State winning this game on Friday?
I mean, you got to start on defense. I know that Chris Kleiman is going to come out and come up with some adjustments from last game. He's a defensive guy. He played defensive back in college. He used to be a defensive coordinator. I'm sure he'll find some way to at least put some resistance up against Arizona's high-octane passing offense. But that's where it all starts. If they're going to come out and just have a heyday and throw for 350 or plus yards on Kansas State, it's going to be a long day because Kansas State, I mean, they can put up points, but they're really not built offensively to win a shootout. I see this game being kind of a classic contrast in styles. I think Kansas State's going to want to run the ball with DJ Giddens, slow down the clock, slow down the game. Arizona's probably going to want to do the opposite, get the ball to Tate, get the ball to their other playmakers, make the game longer, get as many plays as you can in there. And honestly, I think whoever can play the game at their own pace, their own style, will probably end up victorious.
All right, looking forward to it. The first venture, if not into the Big 12 Conference itself, with a Big 12 Conference opponent, Arizona and Kansas State, on Friday night. Real quick, how's we obviously Trey Spivey's a youngster we've kind of watched here in Arizona. How has his experience been so far in Kansas State?
Good. He hasn't played a ton for Kansas State yet. He's still young, but I can tell you coming into the season when we would ask insiders, say who's looking good in training camp, who's somebody we should keep an eye on this season. Trey Spivey's name came up a lot, and he's been out there in these first 2 games. He's seen some targets. He's made some underrated plays, and I think they like him. I think they think he's got a bright future.
Outstanding. Hey, Kellis, we appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us, and have a great coverage game on Friday.
All right, I appreciate it, guys.
Kellis Robinette, he is the beat writer, K-State football for the Wichita Eagle. And we appreciate his time today. And cricket is getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Collisions reported first and Prince Road and 1st Avenue, Glen and Dodge Boulevard and Glen, Snyder, east of Catalina Highway at Snyder, and Soldier Trail. And for your weather, 20% chance of rain Friday and Saturday, 70% chance of rain on Sunday, and it is 1:02 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
What do you do after celebrating 100 years in Tucson serving the community? Well, you get up the next morning and continue to do things that got you to the next 100 years.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh cracked American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the second bite is like fresh American cheese sauce. Bacon. And the third bite, you get the idea. The boss of breakfast burritos, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions.
Attention, anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, or other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-539-5094. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary.
I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-539-5094 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, or other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-539-5094. 800-539-5094. 800-539-5094.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rocking K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rocking K, with home savings up to $25,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
This is Zach Gelb with the Sports Minute, sponsored by Napa Auto Parts. Elevate your engine performance with Napa Full Synthetic Engine Oil. Kirk Cousins thought Atlanta would be his final NFL stop, but he signed a 4-year contract there this past offseason. Then in stunning fashion, the Falcons took Michael Penix Jr. with the 8th overall pick. The Falcons are 0-1 after losing to the Steelers to start their season, and the next 2 games are against the Eagles and Chiefs. The Falcons start at 0-3. The calls to see Penix Jr. to start in Atlanta will really start to take off. I'm Zach Gelb.
There aren't many feelings worse than trying to start your car in the morning and being greeted with a dead battery, or being stuck on the side of the road when you don't need to be. 1 in 4 vehicles on the road will need a battery replacement this year. Don't be a statistic. Stop battery problems before they stop you by testing your battery regularly. Test yours at home or at select Napa locations nationwide. If you need a replacement, Napa has you covered with a full range of long-lasting, high-performance batteries for nearly every make and model on the road. So don't wait. Test your battery today and let Napa help you keep moving.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number for you to be a part of our program today. Appreciate Kellis Robinette from the Wichita Eagle for joining us, talking a little Kansas State. We mentioned Trey Spivey at the end there, one of just 3 players from the state of Arizona who are on the Kansas State roster. You may remember that was a player that Arizona looked at, was trying to get him to come here, the Jetfish regime. His dad, you might remember, Junior Spivey, played for the Arizona Diamondbacks and a number of teams in the big leagues. I had a chance to come across his father, Junior, while he was kind of towards the end of his career, trying to get back to the big leagues. He was in AAA with our team in Memphis. My last year down there in 2007 before I came out to Arizona. But, yeah, Trey Spivey, who, we'll see if he can make a name for himself at Kansas State as he begins to move forward.
Kind of broke my brain when you said his father, Junior. Like when you have your own kid and you still go by the moniker
Junior? Yeah, exactly. And I don't know Senior. I don't know if I ever met Senior Spivey, but obviously he is I don't know what the full name is. That's interesting. I'm not sure what the actual Junior's name is, their dad's name, and what Trey's name is. But obviously, he's whatever it is, whatever the first name is, he is the third.
Ernest Lee
Spivey.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, the third.
Junior, yeah. Ernest Lee Junior Spivey.
So this game will be on national TV, so you don't have to go looking for ESPN Plus, which I finally had to fork over the money late Sunday night. I was like, well, if I'm going to watch this game, if I'm going to watch the replay and break it down, I guess I got to fork over the money. So I did, and I now have ESPN Plus. It's a little janky. I don't know if you've ever watched anything. Well, you probably don't watch. Most people don't watch it like I do, like where I'm constantly rewinding and that kind of thing to watch plays over and over again. It's kind of janky if you watch it like that, especially if you watch it. It's hard. It's easier on the computer than it is if you're actually watching it on your television and trying to rewind to watch another play over, because you can kind of rewind it 10 seconds on your computer. You can't really do that if you pull it up on your television set. So,
Did you get the bundle or just ESPN Plus?
I just got the bundle.
That's too bad because if you got the Disney bundle, you could catch up on all your MCU stuff, and you and Dragon Ball could talk about it.
MCU. What MCU?
That's Marvel
Cinematic Universe.
Marvel. Yeah, I'm not a huge Marvel person.
I'm trying to get caught back up. I've got a lot of movies that I got to watch, apparently.
It's fall, man. It's sports time, not a lot of movies time.
Exactly.
What's number one on the list of those movies that you want to watch?
Well, one of them is actually a show. I got to watch the show Loki. I have not been caught up on that.
The first season's great.
Yeah, I need to get caught up on that.
Yeah, the first season's really good.
All right, so I've got ESPN Plus now. We'll see. I'll be watching everything associated with that, I guess.
There's a lot of content on there as well. I mean, like, remember back in the day when the Pac-12 first launched, it was all about the Olympic sports.
Yeah.
Now what that is, I mean, literally, we had the soccer game, 2 weeks ago with no announcer. It was just on there. You could watch it live, no announcer, but they've got it on there. I mean, that's what I always wanted, that idea of being able to tune into any non-revenue generating sport at any point you want. And it seems to be that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, now our guy Brody Dryden is on those broadcasts at least when the Wildcats are at home for soccer. Speaking of soccer, they're going to be on the road playing at Utah to open up Big 12 conference play against a Pac-12 opponent. And Dragon Ball had a chance to get out to the availability yesterday and talk to Marley Chappell and Megan Shelf. We had a chance to talk to Megan prior to the start of the season. Let's hear how the ladies feel about the opening of conference play, being the first team in Arizona history to play a match in the Big 12.
And talking about that, when you guys get into Big 12, really it's only ASU and Utah that you know, because you don't play Colorado, you don't play Texas Tech, you don't play Iowa State, which you're used to, the last few years. So is it kind of like playing non-conference all year?
In a way, yes, but I mean, we played BYU in the spring a couple times over my last 4 years, so I mean, yeah, you could look at it that way, but I mean, we're entering a new conference, so we're expecting a lot of different and new things, so nothing that we're not ready for.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see how we pair up against different teams than we're used to the past 4 years, and I'm excited. It's honestly just, I see it as an opportunity, and I think it's super exciting to be a part of the first year. And it's a good time for us to have a good start and carry it through the conference. It'll be really strong for us and the program.
So we have kind of an unseasonably warm September right now in Arizona, but when you get to Salt Lake, we just heard it's going to be about going towards like the high 60s, maybe the low 50s. How are you guys going to be prepared for the sudden change in temperature once you get to game time?
I love the cold, so I love it. I think it'll be awesome. However, I think there might be some coats involved for some of our teammates.
I hate the cold. I am a baby when it comes to the cold. That's why I chose a school where it's hot and not cold. But, I mean, it's not going to be too crazy. I mean, the low is 50 degrees. I mean, that's cold, but it's better than snowing, I guess.
We can do it. We got
I
it.
could be tough for a game.
So, again, getting started with Big 12 play. Again, this will be the first official season for the university in the conference and for the program. Any kind of expectations for you guys in comparison when you see kind of what the other teams so far on the year have kind of accomplished going into conference action?
I think that we just have really high standards for ourselves right now. I think that to an extent we're not even looking at other teams like that. We're kind of our own biggest competitor, so just kind of doing everything that we need to do and then working hard in our games and kind of seeing how it all plays out. But yeah, I mean, just doing our thing.
5-1-1 is a record. I mean, what'd you get from that non-conference that is going to help you?
I think as a team, we were able to grow, work on some stuff, and build some stuff up through non-conference and still succeed. And we're always going to keep trying to get better. And I think that from here on, it's still go time more than ever. And we definitely have a strong we've had a strong non-conference going into it, so I think just the standard to uphold that and carry it through out conference and the tournament and everything like that will be a challenge in ways, but I don't think I have a lot of faith in this team this year, and the vibes are good, everything's good, and I think we're going to carry it pretty strong through the season.
Usually with these conference weekend trips, it's usually two teams that you make one trip to one place and another trip to another. This one is just going to be straight to Salt Lake City and back. Is there kind of an enjoyment in the idea that you'll probably be back in town in time to enjoy a weekend potentially after an away trip?
If we win, it'll be enjoyable.
Yeah.
There you go.
Agreed.
But yeah, I mean, having 2 games a weekend is fun, but it's also super tiring and super takes a toll on your body after time. So I think a 1-game weekend will be beneficial, especially for the opening Big 12 game.
And you guys have had a lot of different looks so far, with a lot of players having opportunities so far through the non-conference and things like that. So you've kind of gotten ideas about who can attack where in what positions the best and things of that nature. How has that been in the non-conference, being able to really kind of get a gauge of a lot of your teammates when it comes to not just the defensive side but also the offensive side of the attacks?
I think it's super cool to be able to kind of test new lineups and stuff. Obviously our preseason has built a lot of confidence for us as a team, which we kind of lacked in years prior. But I think people being able to step in and out of the game and testing new lineups and stuff is beneficial to have like a successful season. Finding out what the best 11 is going to be going into Big 12.
I think it's also good to know that we have some depth in our bench and whatever that may look like game to game, and it can totally change, and it has helped create just an even better environment at practice, knowing that you can take somebody's spot, but at the end of the day, our camaraderie together is so good, and we all want success for each other, so it's just a great environment to be around right now, and I think it'll help us through the Big 12.
When talked to Becca after the game, you guys just have 1-2 weeks in a row. She said there'd be different kinds of training. You'd have more opportunities for more training these couple of weeks. What's been different, if anything, for you guys?
I think a lot of the times when we have a 2 games in 1 week, back to back like that, you're kind of managing your players more than anything. So it's hard to get a traditional like hardcore training where every single player is in the practice. So I think a 1-game weekend is beneficial for the entire team because you can start to incorporate every player instead of just the low minute or the high minute players doing separate things.
Yeah, we have time to work on the stuff that we picked out from our preseason that we want to get better at, and this gives us the time to work on it as a unit.
What are some of those things you picked out?
I don't want to share my personal opinion, but I think that it aligns with everybody's. I think that we just want to keep our game, and carry that for 90 minutes. You see spurts of it where it's good soccer, and we've proven to ourselves that we can do it, and we all know that we're capable of doing it. And I think just putting that fully together, a full match of that, and do it again and again and again this conference will really help us succeed.
I think going off of what you said, though, it just has a different intensity when you have every single person in training. Obviously, when you take people out of training for many reasons, trainings can look a lot different, but when you have every single person competing in training, then that's what you want in a team. So the 1-game weekends are beneficial for training as a whole unit instead of half and half.
Marley Chappell and Megan Shelf from Arizona Soccer talking about the first Big 12 game in program history coming up against Utah on Thursday night. Marley Chappell, who's from Vail, Colorado, and we always joke about, Colorado and how they are very good at skiing there, obviously. Her mom, Amy, was on the ski team at Colorado.
Yeah. It's Denver. Like University of Denver too is
the University of Denver knows how to they're very good at skiing. Colorado, obviously. Her mom was also on the US ski team. So how about that for Marley? You always wonder about kids that maybe grow up in resort communities like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's it like to grow up in? Like, I have some friends that live in Vail, so their kids obviously.
My uncle
grew up
lived
there.
in Park City throughout the 70s and 80s, and going up there, like I know a lot of the people you would see on the ski team would be born and raised right from that area, and it makes sense because there is a chairlift, guys, that goes right in the center of town. It's like you don't have to go anywhere to go up on the mountain. It's basically you live skiing, and that's you got to do it from a very young age to get to that level.
Like golf.
Or surfing. Like all the greatest surfers in the world grew up a mile away from the world's greatest breaks, within a mile of the world's greatest breaks. Yeah.
Well, Marley Chappell got her second goal of her career in that win over New Mexico State last week. She had not scored since her freshman season way back in 2021. So good for the senior. All right, DK on the Sports Tip. We're way past time. Let's hear from David Amata. He's got everything you need to know about sports happening in Southern Arizona and the world.
Wildcats Radio 1290. 2020 Sports.
Well, not a bad start for Giovanna Maymon. She wins her first tournament over at the Folds of Honor Collegiate event out in Grand Haven. Maymon now is the first coach in the program's history to ever win her tournament debut. So congratulations to her and the Arizona women's golf team. And the injury bug hit the Cardinals on their offensive line this week as they will end up putting up one of their key starters now on the injured reserve.
Injuries, Jonah's going to go on IR. Not going to speculate about the time when he's going to get back, what that looks like. Still gathering more information about that. Max is going through the protocol right now. Other than that, we're good to go.
Again, Williams will not be able to return up until the Packers game on October the 13th if he is able to be a short-term IR. Speaking of those Packers, Green Bay head coach Matt LaFleur is saying that the team is not ruling out quarterback Jordan Love against the Colts despite having a sprained MCL against the Eagles. Again, that's supposed to be about 3 to 4 week recovery, but LaFleur is saying the quarterback's playing status is pretty open ahead of week 2. And other breaking news right now, Aja Wilson is now the all-time scoring champion in a single season for the Vegas Aces as she eclipsed the 941-point mark today in their game against Indiana. So congratulations to her. And that's your 2020 Sports Update here on Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Collisions reported Park and Irvington and Park Avenue. Crash Midtown at Glen and Dodge Boulevard in Glen. Sidewalk work on Cortero west of I-10 and also sidewalk work at Silverbell and Wade Road. 20% chance of rain Friday and Saturday and a 70% chance of rain on Sunday. 102 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on anyone else. So if you drive safely, you could save money. Good to know. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
Join David Kelly, Kelvin Yvonne, and Glenn Howe at Corbett's this Friday from 12:30 to 3:30 p.m. for the Arizona Game Day pregame show as we get ready for Arizona versus Kansas State. Sponsored by Coors Light. Choose Chill, official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
The kids are back in school, and it's still hot in Tucson. Due to the huge response from the $69 diagnostic service special, we're going to keep it going for September. Picturox Cooling, keeping you cool all summer long. Proudly featuring Rheem air conditioning systems. Call us at 520-492-0748 or picturoxcooling.com.
Picturox Cooling, heating and plumbing.
Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. That's why our Lowe's Red Vest associates can help with game time decisions. Plus, use in-store mode on the Lowe's app to find what you need. Under pressure at home and want it soon? Order online by 2 p.m. to get it same day. Same day valid on eligible in-stock items and select zip codes only. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. Exclusions and more terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
My helmet saved me after they crashed into my motorcycle, but I still couldn't ride for weeks. The insurance company tried hammering me into a quick settlement. No way! I gave them the bird, the eagle. Goldberg and Osborne. Nobody knows Arizona like the eagle. Phoenix to Tucson, Flagstaff to Havasu, and every bit of blacktop in between. Wherever you go, the eagle is there. So if you've been injured, don't wait. Give the insurance company the bird.
Give them the bird. Call the Eagle. Goldberg and Osborne. 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Hi, you know me, Scott Lehman from ScottSaysYes.com. Check out this month's Wildcats Radio 1290 Community Calendar powered by Premier Auto Center.
Visit the Wildcats Radio 1290 Community Calendar at wildcatsradio1290.com to find out what community events are coming up in the Tucson area. You can also find Wildcats Radio 1290 events, upcoming sporting events, and more. Get the details and get involved with our community at wildcatsradio1290.com.
Go to ScottSaysYes.com today.
Hey, Wildcat fans, Arizona football is here. Catch head coach Brent Brennan as the Wildcats enter their inaugural season of the Big 12 Conference. We need you to be part of the action, filling the stands and cheering on Arizona. Secure your seats for all 7 home games with season tickets, or pick the plan that is best for you by calling the ticket office at 520-621-2287 or visiting ArizonaWildcats.com/FB. Lock in your tickets today. We'll see you at Arizona Stadium. Bear down. Go Cats.
KZUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. The one and only home of Arizona baseball. Pre- and post-game coverage, play-by-play, and live press conferences. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
Wait, what's the CNWT?
Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
David Amata.
Hey, that's Dragon Ball to you.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
Hour number 3 on this Wednesday. DK on the Sports Tip. 520-848-1290 is the number for you to get in on our program today. Still to come, we're going to talk some Arizona football at around 5:23 with Lamont Hunley, linebacker from, I believe, 1985, 86 maybe. After 80, I think he might actually be younger than that, or older than that, actually. These years kind of all start to run together after you've been doing this for a long time. Diamondbacks beat the Rangers. That's a 2-game sweep. Arizona Golf, as you heard David say at the top of the hour, wins the Folds of Honor Collegiate. That's a event that they play on both the men's and women's sides. The men, however, for Arizona were not at that event. They were somewhere else to open up their fall campaign. We mentioned the ladies are going to be playing a fall event in England at St. Andrews this year. The men finished 3rd in their first event of the 4, the Sahalee Players Championship, which was up in Sammamish, Washington. Is that how you pronounce it? Sammamish, Washington, suburban Seattle. Can we just say that?
Yes, you can say that.
Yes, Sammamish, Washington. And then they go back there again for the Husky Invitational, which will be at the end of this month. They'll play.
Sammamish?
That's in Sammamish. Yes, different golf course though. They're playing. They're playing
all the golf courses.
Apparently so. They played the first tournament at the Sahalee Country Club. They'll play the next one at the Al Dara Golf Club in Sammamish. Then the fellas will head to Lake Forest, Illinois, which is suburban Chicago. That's where our guy Owen Goss is from. The Wyndon Memorial Classic. That'll be at the end of September. Oh, and guess what? they're going to St. Andrews. So it's both the men and the women going to St. Andrews for that St. Andrews Lynx Collegiate. So we'll have to get some more information on that. That's
Talk about bringing your coat. I don't think I've ever seen that course where it wasn't like 60 mile an hour
in
gusts of
October.
wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that might be. I don't know.
Overcast, deep, heavy winds.
Yeah, 9-foot bunkers, all of it.
It is obviously the anniversary, 23rd anniversary of 9/11, September the 11th, 2001, when the United States was attacked by terrorists who hijacked 3 planes, crashing 2 into the World Trade Centers in New York City, and then crashing 1 into a field in Pennsylvania, as well as 4 planes, I should say, and then crashing 1 into the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. Thousands obviously were killed on those days. Where were you guys? Where were you all that day?
I know that for me, I was still in elementary school, and it kind of puts the point how young I was at the time. I was just waking up. I saw something on the news, and I got my backpack, and I started heading to school. And then that was when everything kind of went to a hush. There was no conversation going on at school today, and then eventually they kind of told us what was going on. But it was very, very jarring, the amount of just silence that you got to hear that day.
I wonder if it was because obviously we are somewhat of a military community. We have an Air Force base here. Was there anything, J-Dub, that you remember that was different about how things were handled at Davis Mountain that day?
Well, I lived with an A-10 pilot at the time, so I could tell you a story about that. First of all, I've told the story many times, but my mom passed away on the 8th. So on the 11th in the morning, I called my dad and I was talking about going to get a new suit. And he said, "What the hell are you talking about? Turn the television on." And that was my September 11th morning. As far as around town, his squadron was in South Korea for 6 months and were due to come back that day. And because they didn't have wartime codes on them, because we weren't at war, flying back into the eastern seaboard, they had F-16's missile lock on them because they didn't have any kind of situation. They took off from Asia,
right,
not at war, and landed in obviously a situation that wasn't something that happened here in Tucson. But clearly, Tucson's always been very associated with the military and with the Air Force. So I guarantee you, there's a lot of people really busy on that day. How about you, DK?
Well, yeah, I was. It's not a glamorous story. I was actually sleeping. I was covering the National Football League at the time, and Tuesday is the off day in the National Football League, and so for me that was like my Saturday. So Friday, Monday, we had gone out. There's an event every year in a lot of the NFL cities. I think in most of the NFL cities, it's called Taste of the NFL. And in Cleveland, obviously, it's referred to as Taste of the Browns. And in a lot of these NFL cities, restaurants from around town will come and you can sample their dishes and things at the stadium. So we had the taste the night before, the Monday night before. And so it was, that's like for those of us that cover the NFL, like a lot of the beat reporters and writers and broadcasters and people that were covered the team were at this event, and we all kind of went out afterwards. So it was like Saturday morning for me. I was sleeping in, and my buddy from Atlanta, who I'd gone to college with, called and woke me up. He's like ringing my phone, and this is before. I don't even remember I think he was actually ringing my house line, because I'm trying to remember if I had a cell phone in 2001. I think I got my first cell phone around 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
But I think I may have had one, because I thought I remember it knowing it was him, unless I might have had caller ID or something and I just saw the number and recognized it was him calling from Atlanta. And I was like, why are you calling me at 9 o'clock in the morning on my off day? And he's like, are you not watching television? And I'm like, no, bro, I'm sleeping. Why are you calling me at 9 o'clock in the morning? He's like, turn on the TV. The United States is under attack. He was like angry. He was angry at me that I had no idea what was going on. So I said, okay, I'll turn on the TV. And then I turned on the TV, and I think I sat in front of the television watching it for the rest of the day. And then it was just that whole week was just weird, just being out so then the next day, the first NFL day of the week is Wednesday. So we go back out to Browns camp on Wednesday. But I think I'm trying to remember if they canceled the NFL games that weekend or not. I don't know that they did. But it was just weird being out there and you're trying to find related stories, like who's on the team that might be from New York and that kind of thing. And you're looking for ways to tell the story with a local perspective to it. And so, it was just one of those strange weeks.
A very similar experience when I called my dad up. We were talking about maybe going suit shopping or whatever for the funeral. And he's like, what are you talking about? Turn on the TV. And he hung up on me. Turn the TV on.
Right.
And it was after the first plane had hit. So that the news coverage live was showing the tower, smoldering. And then we watched the second plane live, hit the tower. And I just remember, personally, the aftermath of that, the SNL situation. Can we laugh again? Can we be funny again?
Yeah.
That whole thing. And wasn't it the Yankees? What was the situation?
I think it was the
Yankees, Mets.
Yeah, the Mets
Yankees
played,
and the Mets were playing.
and it was Piazza hit the home run
right.
in Shea Stadium I think it was still at the time.
I just remember, it was obviously a dark, tragic day, the most in my lifetime. And I remember the aftermath of the country coming together and rallying behind, helping those who were in need. And that's my biggest memory, I think. More so than the day itself was the way that we responded as a country coming together as Americans to help those who are in need.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part about the SNL moment was they asked, can we be funny again? And he said, why start now?
Why start now? Yeah, that was the joke.
Why start? Who said that? Who was the one that said that?
It was Giuliani because he was the mayor of New York.
Oh,
and what's his name? The head of SNL. I'm blanking on his name.
Was it not Tartikoff?
No, the guy who's been there since the start.
Wasn't Dick Ebersol, was it?
Yeah, yeah, maybe that was it.
Oh, man. Now I got to look it up.
It was, and obviously that was a month later, the Diamondbacks go on to win their first championship.
Lauren Michaels.
Lauren
Michaels was on stage, and Lauren asked Rudy if it was okay for them to be funny again, and Rudy said, "Why start now?"
Yeah. And I remember there were a lot of people that were angry that the Yankees didn't win because they thought that the Yankees should be the world champions because of everything that happened in New York. It was the great story, and then the Diamondbacks kind of stole that story from them.
Yep.
I remember that. I remember listening to that game, going home from work because we could pick up the signal, and listening to John Sterling's call on the Yankees network on WABC in the ninth inning, and the Diamondbacks rallying on the great hit by Luis Gonzalez to win their first World Series championship.
Oh, that was a bloop.
Yeah,
that was a beautiful
bloop.
That's
ever.
a bloop. Yeah, best bloop ever. Exactly, best bloop ever for sure. So just a lot of, obviously a lot of memories tied up around that time. And interesting, I just mentioning John Sterling. Did you hear that they're bringing him back for the postseason this year? Yeah, they're bringing him back to call the postseason because and I guess the decision was made at a much higher level. They approached him and said, would you be interested in coming back and calling the postseason? We think you should go out with meaningful games versus just, retiring on a game in April. Like what was happened. So, yeah, John Sterling will be back in the booth calling the playoffs for the New York Yankees this October. That'll be great to hear. One of the great voices in Major League Baseball. All right, we're going to talk some Arizona football. Lamont Hunley will join us next. DK on the Sports Tip. Cricket gets you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic. Collisions reported, a crash at Park into Irvington and Park Avenue. Also, I-19 in Valencia reported at the southbound I-19 Valencia off-ramp. There is a 20% chance of rain Friday and Saturday and a 70% chance of rain on Sunday. And a 101 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Is he okay? Ron, did you get hit on the head?
What? Oh, no. I was just reminiscing.
Here comes a story.
I was 5 or 6. A scruffy little ragamuffin I was.
A scruffy? What are you, Charles Dickens?
Mama just wanted to comfort me.
Mama?
Comfort. It's why we started Alaskan AC, you know?
We know.
I was being a fuss budget. Golly, I was a scoundrel.
Get to the point.
These were the early days at Alaskan AC, see?
See.
It's a fun place to work at Alaskan AC.
Ron.
We don't take ourselves too seriously.
We literally just came up with the new Alaskan AC jingle last month.
What? Who's that? Who's there? Is it you, Mama?
Oh, boy. Yes, Ronnie, it's Mama.
Did your little Ron Bon make you proud?
Every day, dear. Why did I even come to work today?
Because...
It's a fun place to work at Alaskan AC. We don't take ourselves too seriously.
AlaskanAC.com.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
O'Reilly.
You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Wildcats Radio, 1290 and Goldberg and Osborne. The injury lawyers are proud to support the University of Arizona radio broadcast. Your Arizona Wildcats will take on Kansas State this Friday. Get all the info at wildcatsradio1290.com.
Do you trust those in charge of your financial future? Trust is founded on 3 core principles: competence, honesty, and benevolence. Those making decisions about your financial future should always place your best interest ahead of their own. I'm Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, fostering trusted relationships with our clients is our top priority. Call us at 719-1433 or visit meridianwealthllc.com to learn more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Your home for in-depth conversation.
Nothing they do is by surprise. They telegraph what they want to do, and then they brag about it afterwards. It's a way to keep us at each other's throats.
The most pressing issues.
This was just a white on black crime, and you can already see the narrative starting to form in real time.
And fresh perspective.
The air marshals will not be on the airplanes because they're down at the border escorting illegal aliens to their Ubers.
America's most loved truth tellers live on Tucson's home for conservative talk. This is Freedom 1400.
Westwood One presents Today in Women's Sports. Over in the WNBA, Chicago Sky rookie Angel Reese has undergone a season-ending surgery after breaking a bone in her wrist. The All-Star forward suffered the injury in her team's win over the LA Sparks, a victory that ended Chicago's 7-game losing streak. Reese explained the decision to shut it down for the year on her TikTok page.
The doctors told me that I could either not get surgery or have surgery. The risk of not having surgery, I could literally have arthritis at 22 years old. And long term, I literally could have not played anymore.
Reese, who was a national champion at LSU and the 7th overall pick in this year's draft, was dominant on the boards during her rookie campaign, breaking the WNBA single-season record for most total rebounds, and she didn't even play a full season. Her Chicago Sky team is battling for the final playoff position, and they will host the Washington Mystics tonight. With Today in Women's Sports, I'm Maggie Gray on Westwood One.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290. It's the Wildcat Hour, which means it's time for our Arizona Insiders.
Am I late?
No, my boy, you're just in time. Each weekday, Wildcats Radio 1290 brings you all the latest news and opinions of U of A football and the Big 12. So bear down, Wildcat Nation, and let's talk Arizona football. Our Arizona Insiders are brought to you by Coors Light, an official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Coors Light. Choose chill.
All right, let's talk some Arizona football. Wildcats getting set to enter play in the Big 12 Conference against a Big 12 opponent, but not a conference game. Kansas State, joined by Arizona linebacker Lamont Hundley, class of 1984. 40 years ago, Lamont, 40 years ago, you were a senior playing college football. What do you remember about 40 years ago this year?
Oh, shit. I can't remember yesterday, bro. I mean, 40 years ago. Wow. I know it was my senior year. I knew that. Yeah, that's about. I think that's the most I can give you right now.
All right. Well, we won't delve too bad. I don't want to have to dump you again there. We won't delve too far back.
No, what you need to do, you need to give me some, questions like this ahead of time so I can go to my memory bank.
There you go. Well, we'll keep it to this year's team. Lamont, just your impressions through these first two ball games. The Wildcats with a couple of wins, put up some very impressive offensive numbers in game one, a little bit more of an offensive struggle in game two. Just your overall thoughts of what you've seen.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like a reverse on both games. The offense showed up in one game. The defense really did not the first game. The second game, the offense really didn't show up, in my opinion, especially against that NAU team. And I think the defense barely showed up. I'm not going to give them, all the kudos just as well, because I think there were some things that did take place defensively against that team that should not have happened. But most definitely, offensively, something was wrong in regards to the players that was out there playing. Something was wrong. They was not in the same mindset or frame of mind as far as going out and against an opponent like NAU. And you get on that field, the first thing that you should be thinking is that I should be playing just up to halftime and sitting on the bench the second half, and they should have had 40-plus points in the first half, in my opinion.
Well, and let's focus on the defense first, because I'm interested to hear just kind of what you saw in terms of the second game against NAU that you didn't like overall. Obviously, there were some issues that we identified in game one against New Mexico and not really doing a great job of setting the edge. What were some of the things that you took away from game two that you thought could have been a lot better?
Well, it's the opposite again. As far as they did try to set the edge, especially with the quarterback scrambling, the way he scrambled against the quarterback at New Mexico scrambled against us, and we did not set the edge, and he did whatever he wanted to do. So I think they really, really focused in on that and tried to keep the quarterback in the pocket and keeping him from getting to the edge and roaming outside of the pocket. But in the process of doing that, they allowed the middle to open up constantly. And basically, when you're doing a pass rush, taking the lanes and pretty much the BC gaps, and you're controlling the D gaps, then the A gap is particularly wide open the whole time. And that quarterback, in my eyes, what I kept seeing is that quarterback being very effective and efficient as far as stepping up in the pocket. We had no one there as far as spying on this kid when he was stepping up in the pocket. We had none of the defensive linemen as far as going upfield and reverting back down into the pocket and putting pressure on the quarterback. He either, got in the pocket and threw the ball down the field somewhere, or he ran. And I thought that kid from NAU was a very, very effective quarterback.
You know, it's interesting. And one of the things we were kind of wondering what was going to be with this defense was this new aggressive style where they want to push the linemen up the field, not as much maybe gap control as what we had seen the last few years with the Jed Fish regime. What do you make of this aggressive defensive line scheme that they're trying to run?
I'm all for it, the aggressiveness, but you got to play with you got to play aggressively, but very what's the word? You play aggressively, but you got to play with you got to be able to motor it down and have discipline, and have some form of discipline in your aggressive. I guess that's the word I'm using here. And there was no discipline as far as, and you have to have your eyes open. You know, when you are rushing upfield, your eyes got to be open constantly and seeing what's happening in the backfield. You know, I think they was just too much penciled in or focused in getting up the field. You know, and by doing that, it did create that additional the pocket in the A gaps to allowing that quarterback just to basically, you know, be protected by them rushing upfield and not being able to come back. So I think, again, if that's the philosophy and the thinking of Coach Aquina, is to get them to be aggressive, they got to be disciplined enough and have disciplined eyes where they can see that quarterback, you know, stepping up in the pocket, and you got to come off your offensive lineman or come off the offensive lineman at that point in time and wrap yourself back down into that level where he's at, you know. But otherwise, or you got to have somebody to spy on the kid, and none of that did take place, you know. But I don't want to take away the aggressiveness, but you got to be disciplined in the process.
We're pleased to be joined by Lamont Hunley, Arizona Wildcats linebacker, class of 1984. He is our Arizona Insider, brought to you by Coors Light. Coors Light is an official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Coors Light, choose chill. All right, in terms of the linebacker play so far through these first two games, Lamont, I feel like that Jacob Manu is playing at an extremely high level. We've seen him, you know, effectively. I think they're picking the timing right for him to blitz, and he's been able to make some plays on the blitz, whether it's, you know, taking down a ball carrier in the backfield or getting to the quarterback and putting pressure on the quarterback. He continues to improve, I think, in coverage there in the middle when he's in coverage and getting his ball on the field. What are some of the things you're seeing from Jacob Manu as he kind of enters this season when there's a lot of expectations on him to be the guy that we saw last year be one of the best young upcoming linebackers in college football?
Well, you know, I mean, I can't help but agree with what you just said in regards to that. And I think they are placing this kid and placing him in positions where he can be effective up and down the line of scrimmage, which is great because he has a motor to allow him to be able to maneuver in and out of particular gaps and put that pressure. He's a very, you know, now I use the word as far as an aggressive player with disciplined eyes. I think that's the type of player that he is. He's the type of player can go upfield and realize that if something, the play itself has reverted, you know, past the line of scrimmage, and he know how to stop his play and hit the right angles as far as getting to the ball. You know, so those are things exactly what you say, and I do see in him, and that's probably a different level of maturity that this player has developed this year. Manu has developed this year that he didn't have last year. You know, so I'm excited to see that type of a player within him, and that type of player. When you're that type of a linebacker, you're more of a reaction linebacker versus a thinking linebacker. I think unfortunate that other players that's playing that position, they're still in that position where they thinking where they need to be versus reacting to where they need to go. And so, you know, seeing that in Manu, it's going to, you know, help our defense, you know, and in regards to cost these different turnovers or big plays in the backfield, the tackle he made in the backfield. I thought that was a big critical play at the right time during the game, and the pressure that he put on the quarterback in the backfield. I mean, he put that pressure on the quarterback. I think it was twice he may have put some good heated pressure on the quarterback, and that cost her basically convert the ball over, and they had to punt the ball. So if we can get the other linebackers to play that way, I mean, you're going to see a more definitive and more aggressive and strong front there. The only other thing that I don't see within them is the passing aspect of it, as far as their lanes, as far as going back and dropping in their routes. I did see quite a few times where they didn't get back deep enough to take some of these underneath patterns that was taking place,
right,
which is the linebacker position to be there. There was a few times that did take place, and they need to, get out of that play action and be able to turn their heads and get back to their zones and be able to protect that level and not let the ball just hit inside of those particular zones in that level. Everything should be go over top, but there was times that I did see that they didn't get back far enough for that aspect of it. So hopefully those are the things that the coaches can work on with those kids.
Chatting with Lamont Hunley, Arizona linebacker, class of 1984, our Arizona Insider for today, brought to you by Coors Light. Coors Light is an official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics. Coors Light, choose chill. All right, on the offensive side of the ball, Lamont, obviously there's been a lot of mixing and matching with this offensive line due to injuries and guys not being down there. What's your biggest concern going in to this game? I was a little bit surprised that Northern Arizona, obviously a much smaller school, an FCS school, they were able to kind of, game this offensive line with their blitzing, with their deception, a little bit more than I thought. Even with the changes, there seemed to be a lack of communication at times on this offensive line Saturday night.
Well, this past game, I think we had two linemen that was down.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, if I remember people were speaking of, and I'm not, I'm not trying to downplay as far as, that because we had a couple of players that was out, but that could be a critical point that was leading into not being able to practice together collectively as a unit with 5 guys that practiced and played week in and week out. I mean, those things could happen. But I noticed that not only the offensive line, but he also had a tendency of bringing in 2 tight ends because obviously there was something as far as that maybe NAU was doing, or he didn't have the confidence in the offensive linemen that was there that he had to bring in the 2 wide receivers in order to pick up those additional blisters that was coming in and bringing that extra pressure. So maybe it is a situation. Again, I'm not in the locker rooms or in the meeting rooms, but maybe it's a situation where the coaching staff just not confident in the players that they plugging in to play for the injured player at this point in time. And honestly, when you're bringing in those additional tight ends to do that, you're eliminating some of your wide receivers at that point. So now what that does is put that extra burden on your key wide receivers who can be double teamed, in some cases triple teamed. and I noticed that did take place with NAU. And NAU wasn't one of these coaching staff to say, hey, I'm gonna put my guy on an island by himself with T-Mac and let him do his thing. He realized that shouldn't happen and can't happen. So I noticed a few times where this kid was double teamed. In some cases, he was triple teamed. And I think that does happen when your personnel, as far as your wide receivers and stuff, and you have a shortage on that because you're trying to protect the offensive lineman with tight ends.
Lamont, are you heading out to any of these new outposts in the Big 12 to see a game at all?
My goal is I think I'm planning on going out to the out to Orlando for the game in Florida.
Okay.
I think that I got that on my radar because it allows me to go back east and I can go see my family and stuff like that. That's the only reason why I kind of focus on that.
I think I'd rather go to Florida than Manhattan, Kansas, or someplace like that as well. So.
No, hey, Dave, I'm telling you, Manhattan, Kansas, or West Virginia, or Iowa State. Come on now. Hey, especially, wait till the winter comes. And you talking about, oh, God bless these kids.
Well, you're a Virginia guy. Have you ever been to a game in Morgantown?
No, you know what? The thing is, honestly, I can't even think about a time I ever been to the state of West Virginia.
Oh,
I might
wow,
have
okay.
drove through there
All right.
to get to Virginia, but no, I even coming from where I'm from, we wasn't even recruited by West Virginia, which is crazy.
Yeah.
They didn't even come down the road and even look at us. I guess they knew we was going to say no.
Their stupidity was our gain here as we look now 44 years after you first got here. We're still glad to have you in town.
Isn't that crazy, man? I'm telling you, it's been a few lifetimes that, since being out on that football field and enjoying myself as a kid. But, hey, it was a blessing, and I loved every bit of it.
Appreciate you, Lamont. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, brother. Bow down, and let's pray that we can bring one home.
Thanks to Coors Light for bringing you today's Arizona Insiders on Wildcats Radio 1290. Coors Light, official corporate sponsors of Arizona Athletics. There's nothing like game day in Arizona.
Lamont Hunley, class of 1984, 40 years ago, he was on the field for the Arizona Wildcats. Cricket has been on the traffic reports for how long now? I don't know, like 20 plus years, getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Sponsored by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Collisions reported Broadway west of Cole Road at Broadway and Jessica. I-19 in Valencia at the southbound I-19 Valencia off-ramp. And also Park Avenue and Irvington. And for your weather, there's a 20% chance of rain Friday and Saturday and a 70% chance of rain on Sunday. 101 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
Here at O'Reilly Chevrolet, we just celebrated 100 years, and it's truck season. And if that truck you've been driving around feels 100 years old, you know where to come. So see us today.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
This report is sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com. With over 100 online casino-style games, Chumba Casino is your go-to destination for nonstop entertainment. Play for fun and play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Did you miss the big game? We got you covered.
There were a lot of people who were not happy with the performance by the team. Longest current winning streak in the country. Won by double digits on a night they could not convert a third down.
Yeah, holding two thoughts in your brain simultaneously that can both be true is tough for some people.
Yes.
You can both be disappointed in the third down conversion rate and also be supportive and overjoyed to see the head coach celebrate it. Both can be true.
BK on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-970-8855. That's 800-970-8855. 800-970-8855.
Join David Kelly, Kelvin Ifan, and Glenn Howe at Corbett's this Friday from 12:30 to 3:30 p.m. for the Arizona Game Day pregame show as we get ready for Arizona versus Kansas State. Sponsored by Coors Light. Choose Chill, official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics.
Broadway in Tucson presents the new 2024-2025 season, featuring 6 blockbuster productions, including Mamma Mia and the Southern Arizona premieres of Clue, live on stage, Beetlejuice, Some Like It Hot, the Neil Diamond musical, A Beautiful Noise, and Shucked. Secure your signature season tickets today and get the best seats at the best prices. Visit BroadwayInTucson.com and secure your 2024-2025 season tickets today.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions.
Attention, anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, or other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-539-5094. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-539-5094 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, or other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-539-5094. 800-539-5094. 800-539-5094.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Tune into Wildcats Radio 1290 weekly for Brett Brennan's football press conference, where you can catch up on all things Arizona football this season. Sponsored by Coors Light. Choose chill. Official corporate sponsor of Arizona Athletics.
This is Zach Gelb with the Sports Minute, sponsored by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly. In the last 24 hours, the words concepts of a plan have been uttered a lot. So what's Deion Sanders' concepts of a plan for Colorado? We know Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders will be first-round picks, but what about the rest of the team? Because the rest of Coach Prime's squad is poorly built, and it seems like Deion's plan is all about drawing attention rather than building a winning team. I'm Zach Gelb.
Arizona football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown, and he throws an awesome block so his teammate can score instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. Everyone knows the most exciting part of football is the score. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line. Place a first touchdown scorer wager today. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Arizona only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, final segment of the program on this Wednesday. I don't know what day it is half the time.
And we got a short week.
Exactly.
I can get that.
Short week. Last full show of the week in terms of DK on the Sports Tip. We'll have a short show tomorrow because, of course, we have NFL Thursday Night Football coming up for you tomorrow night. Week 2 begins in earnest, and we'll have that game for you coming up at 4:30 here. Coverage begins on Westwood One. The Bills and the Dolphins. So hopefully Tyreek can get to the stadium safely without incident this week. And looking forward to this. Should be a really good ball game because at Dragon Ball, you had said at a couple of days ago, you think these are the two teams in the AFC East.
This is the two teams in the AFC East. And if I'm going to be honest with you, these are my two MVPs in the AFC going up against each other for this particular season. I know that you get Patrick Mahomes is going to be on the short list, and so will Lamar Jackson. We saw those two go at it last week. This week on a Thursday, it'll be Josh Allen and Tua Tagovailoa, who, again, Tua should be, in all respects, the guy who's in the running to lead the league in passing. But we saw Josh Allen last week against the Cardinals score 4 touchdowns with 2 passing, 2 rushing. So these are going to be 2 guys that are going to be deep into the MVP conversations if their seasons go as they are expected to. I'm very excited to see what the 2 quarterbacks do in this particular matchup tomorrow.
All right, some interesting things in baseball today. I want to talk about what happened in with Bowden Francis today had a no-hitter.
Yeah,
had a no-hitter again. This is just like you'll remember back on August the 12th, he took a no-hitter into the 8th against the Angels, and he has been. I say that Framber Valdez, you go to the park, you expect him to pitch a no-hitter, but he's done it before. I mean, this guy, Bowden Francis, in what now 5 of his last 6 starts, has allowed just 1 hit. He allowed the 1 hit against the Angels. Then he came back in his next start at Chicago, 7 shutout innings with 3 hits allowed. His next 2 starts against the Angels again. It was the next start against the Angels, August 24th. He took the no-hitter into the 9th, allowed just 1 hit. Then at Boston, 7 innings, 1 hit. And then again today, he had a chance for a no-hitter.
Now, there are 2 distinctions to that make it very depressing. Both of those were on leadoff home runs in the 9th.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even a matter of did he give up a hit. He gave up a bomb.
The first time was a first pitch home run, I think.
Yeah. And now also with this, he now becomes the first pitcher since Nolan Ryan in 1989 to give up 2 no-hit bids in the 9th inning during a single season.
Wow.
And he did it within weeks apart of each other.
Wow. You got to believe that this is a kid that might eventually get one if he's been this close and this dominant. I mean, he's been one of the better pitchers in baseball since the beginning of the month of August.
My favorite Nolan Ryan stat of all time.
Yeah.
12 one-hitters.
12 one-hitters. Yeah. 12 one-hitters.
For all the no-hitters, 12 one-hitters also on top of that.
Is that 12 complete game one-hitters? I would imagine that's what that is.
Yeah. Nolan very
how many
rarely.
games did Nolan Ryan pitch where he didn't pitch a complete game is the question.
Because that record will never be broken again because, you look just Bowden Francis, he pitches into the 7th and 8th, but never pitchers today.
222
complete
games in Nolan Ryan's
very
career.
Few pitchers today pitch a complete game.
The analytics and the Billy Bean crew, they don't let their pitchers go beyond 6 if they can help it.
They're like, pull him at 98. Nolan's pitching like 276.
Yes.
And so then we were watching this Yankees game, which we've got. That's our top, our BetQL 5-star play today. And the play was the over, and of course it was a 1-0 game. So Juan Soto fouls a ball off of his foot, is in complete pain, crumpled down to the ground, gets up, walks it off, steps back in the box, and hits a 2-run home run.
So now you got 3 runs.
Now we got 3 runs, but we're still running out of outs.
7.5. You need 5 more runs
we're
to get that over.
We're still running out of outs on this 5-star play here by BetQL. It's right now 3, and we need to be over 8 in order to win any money there today.
The worst part yet, all the runs have been on home runs in that game, too.
Yeah. Crazy me to think we could win 2 days in a row with this BetQL thing. All right, let me give you your Desert Diamond Casino replay for today.
And now, the best thing you will hear all day.
Hachi-machi!
It's time for the Wildcat Radio Replay. In case you missed this earlier in the day, we now bring you the best of 1290. It's made possible by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
Arizona Women's Golf wins the Fonds of Honor, I know I just screwed that title up here again. Let me try one with the Folds of Honor Collegiate in Grand Haven, Michigan. Well, it was hosted by Michigan State, so maybe it's a little bit closer to Lansing than it is to suburban Detroit. But the Wildcats win this tournament by 3 shots over Florida State. First ever tournament coaching for Giovanna Maymon, the new women's golf coach. They beat Texas by 15 shots. That's the school that Laura Ianello left Arizona to go to. And Arizona wins a tournament that they're in with Texas. by 15 shots. Put that in your cigar and smoke it. Let's hear from we love Laura Ianello. I'm just playing. We absolutely love Laura Ianello to death. Let's hear from the new lady, though, Giovanna Maymon, on Golf Channel after her first win as a head coach.
So congratulations for winning the most heroic college golf tournament, the Folds of Honor Collegiate. I salute you all. And to rookie coach, where do you go from here? And I'll let you handle that one. But that is yours.
Thank you so
Congratulations.
Much. Thank you.
Coach Maymon, like you just said, first tournament, first year. Coach, what did you learn about your squad today?
Oh, wow. I mean, I just have fighters, like they never give up. I mean, this is special. It's the first one. But I'm so thankful to be in Arizona. And yeah, these kids are special for me. I mean, I've only gotten to know them in the last 2 months, 3 months, and it's something special. I mean, they fought all summer. They all work hard. It's not just the last week that we've been working hard. It's all summer, all their lives for this moment, and I couldn't be more proud of them. I mean, it's an honor to be here to this tournament 9/11. This has been a special week. I mean, the course, the volunteers, the people, it's great, but I'm so thankful for all of these kids and for the kids at home, too, that make us better every day.
So that was the Wildcat Radio Replay with the best of the best from 1290. It's brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
Congratulations to Giovanna Maymon and the Arizona women's golf team. That's a great honor. Her first tournament for those young ladies to bring home a victory for the program and for their new head coach. And then, like I mentioned, they, along with the men, get to go play St. Andrews later in October. We'll delve more into that.
Watch out for Ivan the Terrible.
That is going to be a great trip for those young men and young women of the Arizona golf program. All right, short show tomorrow, but we'll be back at 3 o'clock. We'll talk some football. We will be joined tomorrow by Kelvin Efon. Also, we'll talk some Roadrunners tomorrow. Tickets went on sale for the season today. We'll get an update on all of that.
I read
tomorrow.
that somebody was trying to get tickets for single game and they couldn't.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I read.
Ooh,
I read
wow.
people, like, as soon as it opened up, that people were trying online to get tickets. Now, I didn't verify that. I didn't go try to get tickets myself, but I read several people saying that they were struggling even to get tickets because they were popular.
Well, we'll talk to Bob Hoffman tomorrow about all of that on the show. Thanks to our guests today. We appreciate joining us. Kellis Robinette from the Wichita Eagle, Lamont Huntley as well. For cricket, for Dragon Ball, for J-Dub, my name is David Kelly. That's our time for tonight. Thank you very much for your time. We'll talk to you tomorrow, 3 o'clock, DK on the Sports Tip. You are listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. With earlier collisions that were reported, had a crash that occurred Broadway near Kolb on Broadway west of Kolb Road at Broadway and Jessica. Park and Irvington and Park Avenue. Also collision at the southbound I-19 Valencia off-ramp. And weather-wise, 20% chance of rain Friday and Saturday, 70% chance of rain on Sunday, 100 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions.
Attention, anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, or other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-539-5094. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-539-5094 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, or other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-539-5094. 800-539-5094. 800-539-5094.
Did you miss the big game? We got you covered.
Handoff will go to Hubbard in the end zone, and he's tackled for the safety.
Brent Brennan
in the middle of it, jumping around. You know, wins are hard to get, and you got to celebrate them when you get them.
I love this.
Yeah.
If the coaches ain't excited about what's going on and can't get up for the game, then they shouldn't be over there.
DJ on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Quick, she's over here. I don't know. I just found her like this.
Yeah, she's banged up, but she'll be fine.
Oh, thank God. What can I do?
Just need the keys. And, sir?
Yeah?
Your car's gonna be fine.
Thank you.
Mobile detailing from Recon Auto Detailing. Tired of wear and tear on your vehicle or just tired of cleaning it yourself? We'll come to you. Book with us online and see why we have over 1,100 5-star reviews. Recon Auto Detailing. ReconDetail.com.
Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. That's why our Lowe's Red Vest associates can help with game time decisions. Plus, use in-store mode on the Lowe's app to find what you need. Under pressure at home and want it soon? Order online by 2 p.m. to get it same day. Same day valid on eligible in-stock items and select zip codes only, subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase, exclusions, and more terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Go Wildcats! As the new season starts, the Tucson Police Department bears down with the Tucson community. We are looking to build our team, and we need you. Interested in joining our starting lineup? Visit jointucsonpd.org. Join our team and score a great career. From our commissioned officers to our professional staff, Tucson Police Department proudly stands behind the Arizona Wildcats. Bear down and apply today at jointucsonpd.org.
Wildcats Radio 1290 presents Rocktoberfest at Union Public House on Saturday, September 21st. Join us for a night of delicious beer, bratwurst, and music from the dirt. Show off your strength at the Stein Hoisting Contest and eat your way through the Brat Eating Contest. It's Rocktoberfest at Union Public House on Saturday, September 21st, presented by Wildcats Radio 1290. More info at wildcatsradio1290.com.